Chapter 407. When Sha was 150 meters away from Lin Jun, she immediately sensed that something was wrong. This was a resplendent, starry sky. Planets of all sizes were constantly twinkling, making it hard to tell if they were real or fake. Domain. Sha's eyes narrowed. No wonder someone would spend 30 million 3 Jiang dollars to take this guy's life. He hadn't even reached the star realm, but he had already grasped a domain. A domain wasn't something that just anyone could grasp. Even though Sha was a Venus Azura at the planet's 7th grade, she still hadn't grasped a domain. Furthermore, the earlier one grasped a domain, the more time one would have to cultivate and the more stable it would be in the future. Therefore, the time one grasped a domain was also an important measure of a person's talent. The blazing angel fighting with her clone outside should have grasped a domain when he was at the planet realm. That was pretty good. She knew that the earliest ones were at the peak of the meteor stage. However, she never knew that there was someone who could grasp a domain before entering the star realm. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she definitely wouldn't have believed it. So what if you've grasped a domain? You must die today. Sha knew that she had to kill Lin Jun no matter what. If this person was allowed to grow, he would definitely seek revenge on her family. She couldn't bring trouble to her family. A Venus Azura at the planet's 7th grade was almost at the peak of the planet realm. Even if Lin Jun had a domain, the huge gap in strength couldn't be crossed. After all, in Sha's eyes, the other party was only at the star realm. The slender sword danced in the air, and a huge energy sword aura streaked across the sky. The space trembled, and Lin Jun's domain that had just formed actually showed signs of collapsing. You must have just grasped it. This kind of unstable domain, in addition to your pitifully weak Dantian Qi, can be easily broken by me. Lin Jun still didn't move, but the dark star energy in his body burst forth. A dark star that had reached the primordial universe could emit the star energy of the comet stage. With a strong influx of star energy, the starry sky immediately stabilized. Comet stage. What's going on? Sha's pupils constricted. She had actually seen wrongly. This wasn't a star realm, but a comet stage. Sure enough, there's a way. I didn't think that such an aboriginal planet could produce someone like you. However, the comet stage isn't enough. You'll still die. Her feet moved, and the distance between them didn't seem to exist at all. Her long sword slashed towards Lin Jun. Retreat. With a thought from Lin Jun, a spatial crack appeared in her path. Space Slicer. The spatial crack appeared so suddenly that Sha's speed was too fast. In her haste to dodge, the green hair on her head was sliced off. This caused her to break out in a cold sweat. She had originally thought that Lin Jun was just an ant, but she had never expected that this ant would have heaven-defying strength. Those sharp fangs and claws could even bite her back. Putting away the contempt in her heart, Sha floated in the starry sky. She was about to bring out her true strength. Lin Jun didn't want to see her methods. He was waiting for the moment Sha stopped, allowing him to use his starburst, which he wasn't very familiar with. Sha thought that the hovering planets were illusions and had no practical use. However, she didn't know that they were hovering nuclear bombs. Without waiting for Sha to react, Lin Xin activated the white dwarf star closest to Sha and caused it to explode. Boom! The white dwarf's explosion was a disaster. All matter contracted rapidly and was then violently released. With the planet's core as the point of explosion, it spread through the starry sky. Sha was caught off guard, and she was sent flying by the huge impact. Ugh! Yellow radiance flickered on the surface of her body. A protective divine weapon soft armor had blocked most of the impact. However, even a divine weapon couldn't completely block the explosion of a planet. The huge impact swept past her, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. The more powerful an expert was, the more difficult it was to be injured. The stronger the body, the more difficult it was to be injured. Recovering from injuries was not as easy as recovering from a weak body. It had been a long time since Sha suffered such injuries. If it wasn't for the divine weapon armor protecting her body, she would have died. These planets, can they all explode? She looked at the starry sky around her in disbelief. Hundreds of planets hovered in the air. If they could all explode, the consequences would be unthinkable. Without waiting for her to react, Lin Xian's mind moved again, and a planet turned into a meteor and blasted towards Sha Sha's back. Sha Sha hastily tried to dodge, but the planet exploded not far from her. Rumble. These things were too difficult to dodge. She knew that they were coming, but the area of effect of the explosion was too large. There was no way she could dodge them. Fortunately, she was prepared this time. The impact of the planet did not cause such great damage. But even so, her face was still pale, and her injuries had worsened a bit. Lin Jun did not give this woman any chance to catch her breath. The planets shot toward Sha Sha like shooting stars chasing after the moon. She had no idea how to deal with such a small planet. Every time she tried to teleport away, Lin Jun would use his mental strength to interrupt her. She swung her sword and shattered the planets. However, the impact of the explosion would still hurt her. Colorful explosions sounded in the starry sky. The target of all the planets was Sha Sha. It was as if nuclear bombs were exploding around her. Although she was a level 7 planet warrior, although she was a gold star Azura, and although she was protected by a divine weapon, she could not withstand such a violent explosion. After being hit 7 to 8 times, Sha Sha's face was as white as paper. Blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. However, the fear in her heart was far greater than her injuries. Not good. If this continues, I might even die. I'm a level 7 planet warrior. How can I be defeated by a comet stage? She still wanted to complete her mission. She rushed toward Lin Jun. As long as she killed Lin Jun, the Star Core domain would naturally be broken. Just as she rushed over, Lin Jun teleported. Appearing at the edge of the domain, Lin Jun pointed. Go! More than a dozen planets swept past the sky, whistling as they approached. The rumbling sounds were endless. After being hit continuously, Sha Sha could no longer hold on. The divine weapon armor on her body was blown to pieces. She spat out a mouthful of golden blood. Lin Jun had just comprehended the star explosion. He was not strong enough and did not grasp the timing of the explosion well. He only destroyed the divine weapon. Otherwise, she would have become a corpse. After losing the divine weapon, Sha Sha did not dare to stay any longer. She turned around and flew out of the domain. This mission could not be completed. She had to return immediately. How could Lin Jun let her go? A string of planets followed behind her and exploded violently behind her. Sha Sha was like a stuntman. Behind her was a series of explosions. She kept flying in front, but the power of the explosions was too strong. The stuntman was blasted into a bloody mess. Sha Sha screamed. Her body was smashed into pieces by the explosions. Lin Jun thought he had killed her. He paused for a second, but then he realized something was wrong. The one that died was his avatar. In the distance, Jason was flying over. When Sha Sha wanted to escape, her avatar left the battlefield and took a sword strike from Jason. It was injured and came back to support the main body. In the moment of life and death, her avatar died. Her main body took the opportunity to escape. Just as she was about to teleport out of the domain, a spear stabbed at her. Lin Jun. Sha Sha did not understand why Lin Jun would appear here. She could only wave her sword to block. At this moment, a trace of hope appeared in her heart. If she could kill Lin Jun here, she could recover some of her losses. However, Lin Jun's spear was so strange. It suddenly accelerated midway and pierced her lower abdomen. Sha Sha gritted her teeth. She was an Azura warrior. She had experienced countless life and death battles. This injury was not enough to make her retreat. She wanted to kill Lin Jun before the blazing angel arrived. She grabbed Lin Jun's spear with one hand and swung her sword. Powerful star power rushed over. Lin Jun died. A spear pierced her arm from behind, causing her to let out a blood-curdling scream. She turned around and saw that the person behind her was Lin Jun. You have an avatar too. You know it too late. Stay here. The Lin Jun in front of her was the avatar. He exerted strength in his arms and pulled the edged spear out of her lower abdomen. He stabbed at her throat again. Behind her, Lin Jun's yin-yang spear was like a rainbow piercing the sun. Every strike was aimed at the spot she had to protect. The main body was in the comet stage, and the avatar was in the level 9 comet stage. The two spears flew up and down like two poisonous dragons. Their coordination was flawless. Countless spear shadows covered Shah's entire body. Under the time acceleration, they appeared and disappeared unpredictably. Shah, who was already heavily injured, could not adapt to the sudden acceleration of two spears. She relied on her powerful star power and outstanding reflexes to dodge. However, her body was still covered in wounds. From Jason's point of view, two Lin Juns and two guns were flashing around her body like ghosts. They attacked her from all angles, and blood was drawn. The woman's body was like a sieve. Every second, more than 10 wounds would appear on her body. Puffed, 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 puffed. Shah's body trembled mechanically a few times, and blood spurted out from her body into the sky like a fountain. Lin Jun's main body and avatar exerted strength at the same time. The yin-yang edge spears pierced her shoulders. The spears pushed forward and nailed her to the ground. At this time, Shah's mind was scattered. She was on the verge of death. Her wounds could not be healed. Chapter 408. Shah had no resistance at this moment. She instinctively let Lin Jun's soul lock succeed and muttered a few words. After speaking, her head tilted and she died completely. Lin Jun turned his head to look at the distant space and felt that it was a pity. Now that Shah was dead, the Eternity Crystal spaceship automatically returned. Furthermore, Shah had just said that her mission had failed and that the Anderson family would send assassins to deal with him again. Help me check the background of the Anderson family. Lin Jun immediately ordered Chris. Very soon, Master. After about 3 minutes, Chris said, Master, the Anderson family is one of the 8 major families in the Sanjiang Federation. The family's address is on planet Tianyao, the capital of the Sanjiang Federation. The family head, Anderson, is a super expert in the nebulous stage. The family places great importance on the training of their children. Everyone is an expert in the Azura arena and is very famous among the mercenaries in the Sanjiang Federation. If a mission fails, they will unconditionally continue a second and third time until the mission is completed. It seems that what Shah said is true. She has failed, and there will be stronger people coming. Lin Jun thought silently. According to the mercenaries' convention, if a planet stage expert failed, it would be time for a stellar stage expert to take action. If a stellar stage expert failed again, the other party might even send a black hole stage expert. In the end, the Anderson family head might even take action personally. Black hole stage and nebula stage experts. These were 2 stages that Lin Jun could not resist at all. Therefore, he only had one chance, which was when the next opponent came. Even the Anderson family only had one Eternity Crystal spaceship. If he could snatch the other party's spaceship, it would not be so easy for the Anderson family to come to Earth a 3rd time. If they could not travel through the parallel universe, it would take at least 2.5 years for them to come to Earth. Lin Jun could deal with them calmly. However, the Anderson family was very cautious and protected the Eternity Crystal spaceship very well. Once the assassins failed, the spaceship would automatically return. When Lin Jun asked Shah about her spaceship's location, she told him that it was parked in space. This location was randomly chosen, but she came from the Taurus constellation's demon moon. Lin Jun remembered the locations of many wormholes, especially the ones near Earth in his previous life. He remembered them clearly. Before the wormhole on Mars was discovered, other people came to Earth through the demon moon in the Taurus constellation, including the fleet of the Sky River Empire. A light-speed spaceship coming from the Taurus constellation is close to 3 light years away. If it were to travel through the parallel universe, including some acceleration and deceleration, as well as the process of transmitting information, it would take about 10 hours to arrive. If my Black Pearl were to depart from Earth, it would take about 6 hours to reach Mars. After reaching Aurora, it would go through the wormhole to Emerald Star, and then from Emerald Star to Demon Moon in the Taurus constellation through the wormhole. 8 hours would be enough. If everything goes well, I may be able to intercept the Eternity Crystal spaceship when it leaves the parallel universe and appears outside the wormhole on the Demon Moon. But it's not easy to capture an Eternity Crystal spaceship. I have to prepare well. If I fail the second time, then the third time when the Anderson family comes, I'm afraid it will be a disaster for me. I can't be careless the second time. If it's a star-level Shura warrior, I won't be able to resist them with my current strength. It will take at least 7 or 8 days for the Eternity Crystal spaceship to return to the Sanjiang Federation, and it will take half a month to go back and forth. Their efficiency won't be high enough to send people immediately. Coupled with the investigation time, the next enemy should arrive in about 20 days. I still have 20 days to prepare. As for who hired the mercenaries this time, Lin Jun knew very well. The only possibility is Diana. No one else on Earth has the ability and financial resources to do so. Chris, help me check again. How can I capture a spaceship? Well, a light-speed spaceship. Chris checked for a while and told Lin Jun the result. Master, it's very difficult to capture a light-speed spaceship while it's moving. Even if you launch a light beam attack, it will only be equal to the speed of the other spaceship, unless the speed of the other spaceship is lower than the speed of light. Tell me the specific method. The specific method is to use another large spaceship, install a large trapping net, catch it when it slows down, then drag it into the cabin of a large spaceship. Check the price of the trapping net. Chris quickly gave feedback. The trapping net in the Sky River Empire basically doesn't meet the requirements. According to the condition of the spaceship mentioned by Master, you have to at least buy an alloy trapping net from the Sanjiang Federation, and the lowest price is 130 million river coins. Lin Jun closed his eyes and calculated. The price of 130 million river coins is 100 billion Sky River coins. This kind of trapping net is much more expensive than the Black Pearl. Thinking about it, it's normal. A net that can catch a Eternity Crystal spaceship can't be too cheap. However, this price is beyond Lin Jun's range of affordability. He currently has more than 6 billion Sky River coins in his hands. I need money, a lot of money, Lin Jun muttered silently. At this time, Jason came to his side and whispered, Master, Diana took a lot of people to the city of ancient gods. They seem to be looking for something on the 4th floor. Got it, let's get ready. I will break through to the Star Realm today, and then we will go to the city of ancient gods together. He has no choice but to break through. The power brought about by the advancement of the Dark Star Realm can no longer be suppressed. Lin Jun's Dantian, which has been compressed 10 times, has long been overflowing. However, the location he chose was not the Earth, but the Moon. On the opposite side of the Moon, Lin Jun won't be detected by any radars or scanners. It's the safest place for him. Lin Jun flapped his lightning wings and rose into the sky. Now, the lightning wings are 20 times the speed of sound, increasing his speed by more than 7,000 meters per second. Coupled with the speed of Lin Jun's clone, he can fly more than 15,000 meters per second. The distance between the Moon and Earth is hundreds of thousands of kilometers. For Lin Jun, flying and teleporting, he can reach it in at most 2 hours. Jason followed behind Lin Jun. With the blazing angel's wings, he could barely keep pace with Lin Jun. Seeing his master step on light and electricity advancing at high speed in space, Jason was secretly shocked. 1 hour and 50 minutes later, Lin Jun's feet stepped on the Moon's soil. Coming to the opposite side of the Moon, Lin Jun chose a ring-shaped mountain and sat on the mountain peak, facing the vast space, preparing to break through. He took a deep breath and looked at his Dantian Chi. The cyclone has already started to condense on its own. It's time. It's been more than 7 years since I was reborn. I can finally break through. Only when my main body enters the star realm will my strength truly increase by leaps and bounds. Now that I have gathered elemental energy and mastered time and space, my strength is already worlds apart from my previous life. After advancing to the star realm, my clone will be able to participate in the Azura battlefield battle. Slowly closing his eyes, Lin Jun began the most important breakthrough. Miss Diana, please provide us with everything you know about Lin Jun. On the screen of Sky City's control panel, A dignified, middle-aged man was talking to Diana. "Mr. Anderson, I've sent you the information. Everything I know about Linjun is in there. Can you guarantee that your information is accurate? You should know that if you provide us with wrong information, it may lead to a misjudgment, and we may not be able to kill Linjun in the end. We will suffer losses, and you won't be able to get your commission back. Of course, I can guarantee that Linjun looks like a Star Realm cultivator, but he is actually at the peak of the meteor stage. Moreover, he has a constant guard. I don't know much more than that. This is all I know. Understand. This time, our family Shasha died in a mission. However, we promise that we will continue to send out assassins until the mission is completed. The second batch of people will arrive on Earth within 20 days. I hope you can hurry up. I don't have much time to wait." Diana hung up the call and called the art courtyard again. "Baron Yuxian, haven't you found the World Stone yet?" "Not yet, Earl. We have killed all the monsters on the 4th floor of the City of Ancient Gods, but the World Stone is too difficult to find. You can take a look at the scene." With that, the camera switched to the inside of the City of Ancient Gods. The 4th floor is a huge desert with more than a dozen pyramids standing in the middle of it. Originally, there were a lot of mutant monsters here, but they were wiped out by the army of the Sky River Empire. According to our judgment, the World Stone may be in one of the pyramids in this desert. We are gradually checking them one by one. As you know, every stone here may be a World Stone. Each pyramid is composed of at least tens of millions of stones. It is very difficult to check them one by one. It will take about a month. Try to move as fast as possible. I am worried that Lin Jun will apply to become the lord of this starry sky. Once he becomes the lord, we will have to evacuate from here. My lord, you can also apply for it. As long as you become the overlord, wouldn't we be able to chase Lin Jun out justifiably? I can't do that. I already have a fief. It's very difficult to apply for another fief. What's more, this planet already has a noble. It's impossible to apply for another one. Then what should we do? Yuxian was a little flustered. Don't be afraid. You just need to find it as soon as possible. Although I can't become a lord, I have already sent a request to the Empire. Within 20 days, there will be no lord on this planet. I have another identity, the Golden Shura of the Shura Field. The Empire will have to be wary of me. Unless Lin Jun also obtains the same identity, the Empire won't help either side. What about 20 days later? It will take me about a month to explore all the pyramids here. Chapter 409. Sure enough, just as Diana had thought, Lin Jun's clone was in the dimensional universe at this moment, preparing to apply for a feudal lord. He wanted to drive the Empire's army out of Earth, and the best way was to become a feudal lord. According to the Empire's laws, all nobles of the Empire could obtain a fief, but they had to pay a large fee. A knight could obtain a fief of a planet at most, while a baron could obtain a fief of an asteroid system. A viscount's fief was divided according to the number of stars. A side of 100,000 stars was the largest range of a viscount's fief. A count's fief was much larger, ranging from 1 million star kilometers to 10 million star kilometers. If you spend a little money, then that would be the lowest standard. If you're willing to spend a lot of money, then 10 million star kilometers of land could also be granted. The so-called 10 million stars was basically equivalent to 1 light year. If Lin Jun wanted to obtain a fief, of course, he had to choose the largest one and completely drive these people out of his fief. At that time, with Earth as the core, a cube of 1 light year's length would be his fief. Then, no matter who wanted to come to Earth, it would not be a simple matter. Lin Jun had never applied for a fief before. He followed Chris's instructions and came to the Empire's government office, which was responsible for the application and issuance of fiefs. "Hello, I would like to apply for a fief." Lin Jun stood at the door and said to the guard. A scanning light swept past Lin Jun, and soon Lin Jun's identity was confirmed. "Earl Lin Jun, please come in." The image flashed, and Lin Jun was already in the reception room. A knight staff member received him. "Earl Lin Jun, are you a native of the solar system?" "Yes, I was born on Earth in the solar system. Now that I've become a noble, according to the Empire's customs, I can apply for my hometown to become my fief." "You're right. There is such a custom, but you have to pay a fee to apply for a fief. How much is the fee? Let me calculate for you. This is based on the area of your territory, the number of planets, the number of planets, the number of planets with life, resource planets, wormholes, and other valuable celestial bodies in the explored areas. It's very complicated. Please wait a moment. Lin Jun picked up the teacup on the table and slowly tasted it. He had a feeling that the fief application wouldn't go smoothly. After about half an hour, the staff member came back. Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Earl. The calculation is done. How much land do you want to apply for? 1,000 kilometers on each side. Then you need to pay 500 billion Sky River dollars. Lin Jun rubbed his chin. 500 billion. Buying a trapping net would cost 100 billion, and buying land would cost another 500 billion. There was simply no way to find these funds. Then let me apply for it first. I'll think of a way to get the money, but the application must be done as soon as possible. That won't do. If you apply, you'll have to pay half of the fee first to prove that you have the financial ability. Lin Jun glanced at the staff member and asked, "Can I pass if I pay half of it?" The staff member was a little hesitant and avoided answering. Lin Jun smiled. "Sir, you can cancel the synchronized record first. I have something to say to you alone." The staff member hesitated for a moment, but still turned off the synchronized record. This way, no information would be left, and no one would be able to see their conversation during this period. "Give me your account number, and then I'll give you 100 million. Tell me the truth. What's the problem with my fief application?" The staff member thought for a moment and whispered a string of account numbers. Lin Jun immediately transferred the money, and 100 million was quickly transferred to his account. "It's like this, Mr. Earl. Your fief is now a bit controversial. Miss Diana, the Imperial Earl, said that her army first discovered the starry sky of your hometown. She also has the right to apply. She doesn't have a fief herself. She can't apply for it anymore, right?" "Yes, we also replied to her in the same way. However, she applied to postpone your application for 20 days. This matter has already been approved by the Duke in charge, so you won't be able to get your fief for the time being." Hearing the staff member's words, Lin Jun immediately thought of the crux of the matter. Diana was stalling for time. She wanted to wait for the second batch of assassins to arrive. As long as he was killed at that time, she could stay on Earth legitimately. If he got the fief, he could expel her. The staff member said again, "You may not know, but Miss Diana is a gold 4-star Shura warrior in the Shura arena. Even the Empire has to give her some face. This matter, unless you can also be promoted to Shura warrior, then your application will be approved. Otherwise, there's no way." In his opinion, it was impossible for Lin Jun to get a fief for the time being. The Shura arena could only be entered by Wei Zhou. Moreover, one had to win 1,000 matches with a winning rate of more than 80% to get the title of Shura. How could Lin Jun, a level 9 comet, do it? Moreover, Diana was a gold 4-star, which proved that she had won more than 8,000 matches in the Shura arena, and her winning rate was more than 90%. It was even more impossible for Lin Jun to achieve it in a short time. Lin Jun knew the truth of the matter. He stood up and nodded. "Thank you, I understand. I didn't say anything." The staff member smiled and stood up to send him off. After leaving the dimensional universe, Lin Jun silently pondered for a while. Now that he wanted to get a fief, he had to fulfill 2 conditions. One was to become an Shura warrior, and the other was to have a large amount of money. His main body was currently breaking through on the moon. As long as he entered the Star Realm, Lin Jun's doppelganger would be able to enter Wei Zhou and participate in the Shura arena. After obtaining the identity of an Shura warrior, one could get a loan. Because the Shura arena belonged to the entire Sanjiang Federation, the loan was also 3 river dollars. A silver 1-star Shura could get a loan of 10 million 3 river dollars. A 5-star Shura could get a loan of 50 million, and the highest 9-star Shura could get a loan of 90 million. A gold 1-star Shura could get a loan of 130 million 3 river dollars. A red 1-star Shura could get a loan of 1 billion 3 river dollars. And a crowned Shura king could get a loan of 10 billion 3 river dollars. Lin Jun's application for the fief and the purchase of the trapping net would require at least 600 billion Sky River dollars. If converted to 3 river dollars, it would be 600 million. If I want to get 600 million Three River dollars, then I have to at least reach the gold 6-star arena. Every time I increase my star rank, the number of victories I need to win will double. A 1-star arena requires 1,000 victories, and a 6-star arena requires at least 32,000 victories. It's impossible to do that in such a short time. So what I need to strive for is to become a red 1-star Shura and have a 95% win rate. I need to win at least 1,000 battles. In my previous life, I didn't participate in the Shura arena. I wonder what level my doppelganger would be at in the Shura arena after entering the satellite realm. However, I have to become a red 1-star Shura no matter what. Diana wants to stop me from becoming the lord of this starry sky. She has it all planned out, but I can't let her succeed. Now it's time to see what level my main body will reach in this crucial breakthrough. Asterisk, 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 asterisk on the moon. The dark energy in the universe quickly gathered on Lin Jun's body. At this moment, Lin Jun was like a funnel in the ocean, a whirlpool, absorbing the endless dark energy. Within his dantian, the vortex had already expanded to its maximum size. Starlight flickered within it, and the most central points started to converge rapidly. The star core was forming. The total amount of chi in his dantian had already exceeded the critical point for a breakthrough. Now that he had broken through, it felt like it was going out of control. 7 types of elemental energy shone on Lin Jun's body, and the chi in his dantian rapidly evolved. At this moment, all of the power formed a vast torrent. The barrier that prevented Lin Jun from entering the star realm was like a thin layer of film. It was instantly torn apart by the surging torrent. Boom! His mind became clear, and Lin Jun felt as if his vision was magnified at this moment. The chi in his dantian swelled twice before shrinking. The original dantian sea of chi started to expand continuously, forming a starry sky. The chi in his dantian quickly shrank and condensed, and the star core appeared. Unlike the physical body of the dark star, the dantian star core was a pure energy body. After the birth of the star core, it started to expand rapidly. Lin Jun had experienced the birth of star core in his previous life, but the strength at that time was far from what it was now. This time, the star core had just appeared, and it had already reached level 3. Moreover, the powerful dark energy between heaven and earth surged madly, causing Lin Jun's realm to start to soar. Level 4 star core, level 5 star core, level 6 star core. The dark star revolved wildly, absorbing a large amount of dark energy in the universe and supplying it to Lin Jun's dantian. This huge amount of energy, in addition to Lin Jun's previous accumulation, finally provided him with sufficient motivation. From the moment he leveled up, he was at level 3 star core, and it soared all the way to level 6 star core. In the end, Lin Jun's star core stabilized at the peak of level 6. Within his dantian chi sea, all the dantian chi had disappeared. What replaced it was a vast and deep universe. At the center, there was a small planet that emitted faint starlight. Don't underestimate this small planet. Lin Jun's dantian chi was compressed 10 times. After the dantian chi was converted into star power, his star power was 10 times stronger than those who were not compressed. Even if he was at level 6 star core, he was still the strongest level 6 star core. Moreover, Lin Jun's biggest trump card was the Dark Star. The Dark Star's comet stage star power, coupled with the strength of his main body, allowed Lin Jun's star power to be comparable to the satellite stage. That was Lin Jun's true combat strength. After the breakthrough, Lin Jun's main body did not move. Instead, he continued to sit there, calming and stabilizing his realm. At the same time, he opened his domain and cultivated the power of the domain. Although his main body was still cultivating, his clone had already entered the dimensional universe space once again. As his main body leveled up, Lin Jun's clone's realm also soared all the way to satellite stage 6. Chapter 410. The Sky River Empire's arena couldn't be compared to the Sanjiang Federation's Azura field at all. Every fighter who reached the 3rd level of the Eternal Realm had the goal of becoming an Azura. This was the fastest way to rise above others. It was too difficult to become an aristocrat. They had to train hard for decades, centuries, and once they entered the Azura field, if they really made a name for themselves, then riches and honor would follow one after another. In a primary universe country, the status of an Azura fighter wasn't that of an aristocrat, but it was even higher. What people saw and remembered were always those geniuses, those who succeeded. As for those who didn't do well in the Azura field, no one cared at all. Linjun, have you arrived? Chun Fonlai asked in the extra-dimensional universe. Coming. A figure flashed, and Linjun's avatar appeared in front of Chun Fonlai. Beside Chun Fonlai, Qing Su and Abihua were also there. The three of them had been in the Azura field for 2 days. Three brothers, I haven't seen you for 2 days, but I feel that you're different. You're showing off your abilities. Linjun looked at the three of them with some surprise. He really had this feeling. Their realms hadn't increased, but they were like unsheathed swords, overflowing with murderous intent. It was the kind of state where they could enter battle at any time. And Bihua smiled bitterly. What's there to show off? It's just that we've been beaten up too much in the Azura field. Our nerves are a bit tense, ready to fight at any time. Is it necessary? Isn't it just a virtual arena? Linjun asked. Qing Su waved his hand. This virtual arena isn't simple. The degree of simulation is no different from reality, especially during battle. The sensation of pain is 100%. It's impossible to distinguish the virtual environment. It's fine if you meet a super strong opponent who can kill you in one move, but if you meet someone of similar strength, you'll suffer. Not to mention getting injured, but in the end, you'll think you're really dead. Chun Fonlai suddenly smiled. Brother Qing Su, you said your last words several times during the battle. It seems like you have a lot of wishes. Qing Su suddenly blushed. I shouldn't have told you. You keep teasing me. Linjun couldn't help but smile, but he didn't ask what Qing Su's wishes were. Instead, he asked the others, how is it? Is it easy to survive in the Azura field? Chun Fonlai, it's not easy. There are too many experts. And Bihua said, you're doing very well. Another 5%, and you'll become a Silver Star Shura. Qing Su and I, on the other hand, are in a bit of a predicament. My win rate is 53%, and his is 55%. Who knows how long it will take for him to become a Shura? The more matches you fight, the slower your win rate increases. That's right. It wasn't easy for me to get up there, but I met an expert and lost a round before coming down again. Sometimes, I was unlucky and lost a few rounds in a row. Linjun asked, how do we choose our opponents? There are two options. One is a random assignment, and the other is a challenge. Most people choose a random assignment, and only a few choose a specific challenge. At this time, Qing Su said angrily, designated challenges are too disgusting. There were a few times when I just got up there and someone would challenge me. If I didn't accept, they would just curse me. If I accepted, I would be tortured. And Bihua patted Qing Su's shoulder and said, you are still impulsive. Just ignore that kind of person. It's not good to be too impulsive. Qing Su was obviously a straightforward person. He nodded gloomily. However, in Linjun's opinion, it was still possible for him to lose his cool in the face of challenge. There should be quite a few people like this in the Azura arena. Through verbal insults, they would seek out weak opponents. This was also a way to increase their win rate. After all, in front of high win rate, there were very few martial artists who could remain calm. Chun Fonlai said to Linjun, Linjun, you go and give a try too. Try to ignore those who provoke you. There are too many trash here who specialize in this kind of thing. Fighting here is very beneficial. It is very helpful to improve your combat ability. Linjun nodded in agreement. The few of them returned to the Azura arena. Linjun came to the registration area. After a scan, he had his identity. Solar System, Earthling Linjun. Azura Arena Record. 0 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws, 0 win rate. You can now choose the battle mode. Chris gave Linjun a long list of names. This list was simply immeasurably long. Linjun looked at the first page and saw tens of thousands of names. How many pages were there in total? The long numbers made Linjun dizzy. Choose random. Random mode begins. The probability of encountering an opponent in the Wei Zhou stage is 90%. The probability of encountering an opponent in the planetary stage is 9%. The probability of encountering an opponent in the stellar stage is 1%. Match successful. Opponent, Orion constellation, Arati. Wins, 19, losses, 10 draws, 0. Win rate, 65%. Entering the Azura arena. Random map, mountaintop. In the next second, Lin Jun appeared at the peak of a mountain. Clouds floated under his feet. The scenery was pleasant. The mountaintop was like an arena. There was no audience, only the opponent that appeared opposite him. Arati, a level 9 satellite with a high-nose bridge and deep eyes. After seeing Lin Jun, Arati revealed a proud smile. Oh, my luck is really good. I actually met a rookie. It seems that my win rate can still be improved. Then I'm afraid you will be disappointed. You can't even maintain your current win rate. A mere level 6 satellite dares to be so arrogant. I am ranked in the top 10 on our planet. People like you can't even be ranked in the top 100 on our planet. Arati pulled out a golden scimitar. Fall, rookie from the solar system. Today, I will let you experience the cruelty of the Azura arena. Arati jumped up, and the scimitar in his hand slashed down fiercely. This move had a myriad of changes. No matter which direction Lin Jun dodged, he would fall into the range of his follow-up attack. This was Arati's specialty. Lin Jun stood at the same spot without moving. When he saw that the opponent was about to reach him, he had a thought. Spiritual shock. Pooh! Arati felt dizzy. The sacred weapon for spiritual defense could not completely block Lin Jun's spiritual shock. His movements suddenly stopped. A ray of gold gas appeared out of thin air. Now that Lin Jun's various elements had resonated with the atoms, its power was no longer the same as before. The sharp gold gas was like a flying sword, directly piercing through Arati's forehead. Fresh blood flowed from his forehead. Arati did not make a sound. His eyes lost focus, and he fell on his back. Lin Jun's first battle in the Azura arena, victory. He exited the Azura arena. The data also changed. Wins, 1. Losses, 0. Draws, 0. Win rate, 100%. Although Lin Jun was confident in his own combat strength, this was his first victory in the Azura arena in both his previous and current lives. He was still very happy. After exiting, Chun Fenlai and the others had also finished their battle and gathered together again. They asked each other for a while. This time, Chun Fenlai and the others were quite lucky. They had all won a battle. However, after fighting so many battles, 1 or 2 victories were not enough to increase their win rate. Hearing that Lin Jun had won the first battle, and Bi Huai said, slightly exaggeratedly, "Not bad. Now that your win rate is 100%, if you keep it up and win 1,000 battles, won't you be able to get the title of 1 Crown Azura King?" Lin Jun laughed. "Well, if I can keep it up, then it will be true." Of course, this was just a joke. The few of them did not take it seriously. How could 1,000 consecutive victories be so easy to achieve? Unexpectedly, a sneer came from behind, a bunch of country bumpkins. They don't know the immensity of heaven and earth after getting their first victory. The few of them frowned and looked back to see who had spoken so harshly. When they turned back, they saw a planet star-level martialist standing behind them. This martialist looked at Lin Jun and the others and raised his chin slightly. "What's the matter? Are you guys not convinced?" Ching Su said somewhat angrily, "We have no grievances with you. Why are you insulting us?" "Yes, we have no grievances. However, this young master can't stand idiots like you. How dare you dream of a 100% win rate after getting your first victory?" Countless people had participated in the Azura arena, and everyone had their first battle. Half of them had won, and the other half had lost. Out of the 100 million people who had participated, 50 million had obtained a 100% victory rate for the first time. What did this mean? In the second round, more than half of the people were defeated. In the end, there are only a few people who can achieve an 80% win rate. One idiot. F***CK. You're a fellow with a mouth full of shit. You need to be taught a lesson. Ching Su is a little angry. TSK, you guys are not worthy. If you're not convinced, come to the Azure Arena. This young master is not talented. Do you guys dare to take turns fighting me? Let's go. I will meet you first. Ching Su was the first to agree. The two of them reported the number of the dimensional universe. Then, without another word, they entered the Azure Arena. Lin Jun frowned slightly. He knew that there were many people like this who specialized in provoking others with words. However, the other party's words were too harsh. No man could stand it. Chen Fenglai couldn't help but shake his head. Ching Su is in danger. This person is not weak. He is a planet star level. I am afraid he will lose again. And Bihuai nodded. I think so too. If Ching Su loses, I am afraid it will be useless even if I go. Brother Chun, there is still hope if you go. However, your win rate is close to 80%. It is better not to get involved in this muddy water. Hurry up and save Azura. When he comes again, you can leave immediately. Lin Jun suddenly asked, this kind of challenge is considered a designated battle, right? That's right. Directly asking for the opponent's number is a type of designated battle. In this case, can we raise the stakes? And Bihuai was stunned. Yes, but very few people do this. The strength of the challenger is usually very strong. Chapter 411. Lin Jun currently had $6 billion. He exchanged $5 billion for 3 river dollars, making a total of $5 million. This amount of money was considered a lot in a primary level universe nation, but in a middle level universe nation, it was nothing. Too many people could afford it. The exchange took 1 minute, and in less than 30 seconds, the battle was over. The planet level 1 walked out arrogantly. Trash is trash. Even if you don't like it, you can't change this fact. Who's next? Ching Su's face was red. He looked at Lin Jun and lowered his head. No, I'm not this kid's match. Lin Jun patted Ching Su's shoulder and glanced at that person. He pretended to be calm and said, this kind of free battle is not fun. If you want to fight, let's have some prizes. Do you dare? Hearing this, the planet-level cultivator immediately became alert. People like him often bullied noobs in the Shura Arena. Sometimes, when he met a spendthrift who had just come to the Shura Arena, it was really easy to earn some money. Being able to earn money at the same time was something that everyone wanted to encounter. However, he didn't expect that Lin Jun would dare to propose a bet first. He instantly became suspicious. Could it be that he had met someone of the same profession? However, when he saw Lin Jun's battle record, he didn't think so. Lin Jun had just fought in the Shura Arena and had a record of 1 win and 0 losses. He was definitely a newbie. He probed, come on, $100,000 per round. Lin Jun waved his hand. It's not fun if it's too small. You should keep that money to buy diapers for your children. I don't have time to play with you. Seeing Lin Jun's behavior, he was even more certain that Lin Jun was bluffing. Furthermore, Lin Jun was only a planet level 6. There was no way he could lose. Huh, can you afford to play with a big one? Come, say a number. 1 million or 2 million. Any number is fine. 5 million. Do you dare? I dare. Whoever doesn't dare is a coward. Kid, tell me your dimensional universe number. Lin Jun had an uneasy look on his face as he stammered out the serial number. The planet realm cultivators moved extremely quickly and completed the bank transfer very quickly. In this kind of bet, both parties had to transfer the money out first and let the Azura Arena keep it for them. In the end, whoever won would get to keep it. Seeing that the other party had completed the transfer, Lin Jun's movements quickened and he immediately completed the transfer. Ching Su was a little worried. Lin Jun, this is 3 river coins. You must be careful. Lin Jun nodded and immediately entered the Azura Arena. The Azura Arena battle has begun. Designated battle. Opponent, Ophiuchus Greenleaf. Wins, 33-28. Losses, 1990. Random map, Wilderness. This was a person who had been in the Azura Arena for a long time, but he had failed many times, so Lin Jun didn't take it to heart. In the empty wilderness, Qing Yi slowly walked towards Lin Jun. As he walked, Qing Yi suddenly appeared in front of Lin Jun. The 2 swords were like dragons as they went straight for Lin Jun's eyes. At the same time, a strong light burst forth. If Lin Jun hadn't comprehended the light atom, he would have been at a disadvantage. The edge spear appeared, and with a wave, it repelled Qing Ye's attack. The two people quickly intertwined and exchanged blows. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged over 10,000 attacks. Pu. At the same time, they fell from the sky. Lin Jun's arms were hit by the swords, and fresh blood flowed out. Lin Jun was shocked. The opponent's strength was actually so strong. Although he wasn't an Azura martial artist, he wasn't any weaker than Sha Sha, who Lin Jun met on Earth. As expected, you have some skills. Seems like you're quite cunning, Qing Yi sneered. You want to pretend to be weak and lure me into a bet with you, right? But you really think I'm a fool. I'm just going with the flow to bet with you. Otherwise, how could I win the 5 million bet? You're doing this on purpose too? Lin Jun's expression was solemn. Of course, if it was a month ago, I definitely wouldn't have fallen for your trick. But now I've already comprehended the power of a domain. Your little trick can only trap yourself in a cocoon. Go die. The 5 million is mine. Qing Yi raised his hand, and the surrounding trees suddenly grew. The wilderness turned into a forest. Countless thorns and vines waved like poisonous snakes, attacking Lin Jun together. Within my forest domain, you will suffer the attacks of countless trees, growing and multiplying endlessly. Ugh! A planet seemed to appear from the void and fiercely exploded above Qing Ye's forest domain. The huge supernova explosion destroyed everything. His forest domain collapsed in an instant. Following that, he saw Lin Jun stabbing out with his spear. He originally wanted to dodge, but Lin Jun suddenly accelerated. The difference in timing made it impossible for him to defend, and the spear pierced through his throat. Since both of us want to bait each other, then the final competition is still strength. The one who will die is you. With a twist of a spear, Qing Ye's head exploded like a watermelon. He died on the spot. Lin Jun put away his spear and left the Azura arena. His victory count increased to 2. Following that, a notification popped up. His account had an additional 10 million Three River dollars. He had a capital of 5 million yuan, and he had 5 million yuan. How was it? Did you win, Brother Lin? Ha. Looking at Brother Lin's smile, you must have won. Lin Jun looked at Qin Fenglai and the other two, smiled and nodded. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. The few of them smiled. Lin Jun won, and he won 5 million Three River dollars. That was 5 billion Heavenly River dollars. This money came so easily. The money earned from one round was almost enough to be the richest person on Earth. These few days, Qin Fenglai and the others sold some of their astral tools and materials. They also had some cash, but they couldn't compare to Lin Jun. They saw Qing Yi again, but Qing Yi was obviously in a daze. This round was a huge blow to him. When he saw Lin Jun, he didn't even dare to look at Lin Jun. The difference in strength between the two of them was too big. He didn't even dare to think about revenge. Even if he did, he wouldn't dare to show it. Lin Jun also secretly let out a sigh of relief. None of the people here were fools. He was fishing, and so was Qing Yi. It was just that his skills were better, and he won this round. After winning 5 million, Lin Jun didn't become complacent. He immediately threw himself into the next round, the Azura arena. There was no need to wait here. There were too many people participating, one battle after another, and when the speed was fast, a battle could be fought in 2 minutes. Lin Jun also knew that time was tight. He didn't drag on in every battle. Mental attacks, elemental powers, time acceleration, and spatial slashes. Anyone who was Wei Zhou's opponent basically had no resistance. They were easily dealt with by Lin Jun. Even in the planet realm, it was difficult to meet a real elite. Lin Jun could still deal with them with a little effort. In an hour, Lin Jun's record became 18 wins and 0 losses. In 3 hours, Lin Jun's record was 50 wins and 0 losses. In 16 hours, Lin Jun's record was 227 wins and 0 losses. His win rate was 100%. When they left the Azura arena tired, Qin Fenglai and the others were shocked by Lin Jun's valiant record. Brother Lin, isn't your record a bit abnormal? More than 200 wins and 0 losses. You didn't really take the title of Azura King with a win rate of more than 99%, right? Looking at Chun Fengye's surprised face, Lin Jin smiled. It won't be that simple. I'm just lucky. I haven't met a Star Realm opponent today. If I did, I might lose. I've also heard of something. When some warriors' results are too outstanding, the further they go, the harder the battles will be. If you can really achieve over 900 consecutive victories, then I'm afraid your opponents will all be at the stellar stage. The Azura Arena won't easily allow an Azura King to be born. Even a Red Star Azura won't appear that easily. And Bihua said from his side, I don't dare to dream of becoming an Azura King for the time being. No one can always win and not lose. However, I must get the title of Red Star Azura. Lin Jun thought for a moment. I reckon that before the 500th win streak, no one will deliberately target me. However, after the 500th win streak, I'm afraid that my opponents will all be at the planet realm. It won't be that easy to win then. Then you have to work hard tomorrow. Get 500 wins first. Haha, all right. I've won money today. Brothers, let's go out and spend some money. Ching Su and Chun Fengye smiled and agreed. And Bihua glanced at Lin Jun. Brother Lin, don't forget that I'm the ancestor of your wife. And Ning. Don't bring me to do anything messy. Although I'm not a saint, I still feel uncomfortable being with you. Chun Fengye and Ching Su laughed heartily. The relationship between Lin Jun and Bihua was indeed a little strange. Lin Jun spent money. The four of them ate and drank to their heart's content in a restaurant in the dimensional universe. They went out to wash up and then left the dimensional universe. They agreed to fight again the next day. After leaving the dimensional universe, Lin Jun rested for about 3 hours before entering the Azura Arena again. He was pressed for time. 1,000 wins weren't that easy to achieve. After 500 wins, there wouldn't be any more battles that ended in 2 or 3 minutes. Sure enough, as he had expected, the battles on the second day were still uneventful. Most of the opponents he encountered were at the satellite stage. Occasionally, he would encounter a planet realm, but the strongest was only a level 8 planet realm. Lin Jun won this battle in 10 minutes. This was the longest battle he had ever fought. It was another fierce battle that lasted from morning to night. It could be said that the sky was dark and the earth was dark. In the end, Lin Jun felt that his mind couldn't take it anymore. He persevered until the 500th battle and had no choice but to rest again. After 2 days of bitter battles, Lin Jun's results changed again. Solar System Lin Jun, 500 wins, 0 losses, 100% win rate. Looking at this battle record, Lin Jun's heart was filled with excitement. Chapter 412. Things were indeed as Lin Jun had expected. After 500 consecutive victories, Wei Zhozhou was no longer an opponent he encountered. Although Lin Jun wasn't afraid of Planet Realm opponents, the battles had become more difficult. He could sometimes defeat Wei Zhozhou instantly, but it wasn't that easy to kill a Planet Realm opponent. He usually had to fight for a while before he could do so. Battles that used to take 1 or 2 minutes now took 3 to 5 minutes. Some powerful Planet Realm level 8 and level 9 opponents could even last more than 10 minutes. However, Lin Jun still maintained a winning record. On the third day, Lin Jun won 532 consecutive battles. On the fourth day, Lin Jun won 570 consecutive battles. On the fifth day, Lin Jun won 603 consecutive battles. However, on the ninth day, after 761 consecutive victories, Lin Jun lost his first battle. He was a level 7-star realm expert from the Sanjiang Federation's capital, Tiandao planet. His name was Jerry, and he was wearing a fiery red coat. This was also the first time Lin Jun had encountered a star realm expert in the Azura Arena. When he saw Jerry, Lin Jun knew that things weren't going well. This was because this person had 7 red stars. He was a red 7-star Azura. To become a red star Azura, one had to have a winning rate of more than 95%, especially when this person was a 7-star. Lin Jun was shocked when he saw the number of victories he had. He had won 119,302 consecutive battles. He had actually won close to 120,000 battles, and his winning rate was 98%. This guy isn't far from the Azura King. Jerry's eyes lit up when he saw Lin Jun enter the arena. Oh, a level 6-star realm peak diamond telekinesis master. Not bad. The fact that he could see the strength of Lin Jun's telekinesis at a glance proved that this person's telekinesis was stronger than Lin Jun's. Lin Jun was more polite to such a strong person. I'm still a far cry from you, senior. Jerry sized up Lin Jun for a while. Suddenly, his eyes widened. You're not even 30 years old? Lin Jun nodded. He was only 23 years old. Jerry praised, what a rare genius. Can you tell me the serial number of your dimensional universe? Lin Jun thought for a moment, then told him the serial number. Well, I think we'll have a chance to meet again. Next, I'll let you feel how a spirit reader above the diamond level fights. Clang! With a clear metallic sound, 5 curved blades flew out from Jerry's hand. These 5 blades were so fast that they could not be seen with the naked eye. Before the blades even arrived, the sharp air that stung the skin had already cut Lin Jun's skin. This is the opponent's psychokinetic weapon. His spiritual force is so strong. Lin Jun's pupils dilated in an instant. Jerry's spiritual power was above his, and there was a layer of green on the blade light. This was the first time he met a spirit reader stronger than him. Facing these ridiculously fast psychokinetic weapons, Lin Jun faced them with a 7-star blade. 7 elemental flying daggers flew out. Lin Jun's 7-star blade had been upgraded to a divine weapon, and the opponent's 5 blades were also divine weapons. However, when the 7-star blade collided with the opponent's blades, Lin Jun was immediately at an absolute disadvantage. Although his spiritual power was at a disadvantage, he could still barely resist 2 attacks. However, Lin Jun was far behind in terms of controlling the blade. Clang, 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 clang. After a series of crisp sounds, Lin Jun's 7-star blade was completely knocked down by the blades. When Jerry attacked, those blades could actually accurately hit the weak parts of the 7-star blade while moving at high speed, making Lin Jun unable to use his strength at all. It was like 2 people fighting, and the opponent specifically hit your joints, tendons, and other vital points, making it impossible for you to use your brute force. The 7-star blade fell to the ground, and Lin Jun gave up resisting. The opponent's blade was too fast, and he didn't even have the chance to attack in close range. Thunder Kill and Star Explosion, these slow moves, were also useless, and there was no need to think about the spiritual attack. Jerry smiled and said to Lin Jun, your spiritual power is very strong. At least when I was in the satellite stage, I was far from your spiritual power. If we count age, I was only a war god in my 20s, and now I'm almost 2,000 years old, so it's not wrong for you to lose. But I don't have the ability to resist at all. Lin Jun was a little regretful. You lost because you didn't systematically learn how to use spiritual power. You need to find a suitable psychokinetic battle technique. The quality of your flying daggers is very good, but it's all supported by your spiritual power. Killing people only relies on speed. It's like having a good sword, but not a sword technique. What you need now is a set of sword techniques. But where can I find a place to sell psychokinetic weapon battle techniques? Psychokinetic weapon battle techniques are extremely precious, and you can't buy them in normal places. Even if people don't use them themselves, they will take them out to auction. Maybe you can go to the Dimensional Auction House to try your luck. Dimensional Auction House. Yes, the Dimensional Auction House is one of the leading enterprises in the universe. The real good things are sold there, but if you don't have enough money, it's best not to go in. It's easy to be defeated, haha. After Jerry finished speaking, his blade flashed past like lightning, and Lin Jun fell to the ground. So far, Lin Jun had won 621 rounds and lost 1. His winning rate was 99%. No matter how many rounds you won, as long as you lost 1 round, it wasn't 100% anymore. It was all counted as 99%. After leaving the Azura arena, Lin Jun wasn't depressed. He knew that no one could win forever, and failure was also a kind of precious wealth. Otherwise, you would never know where you're lacking. He first asked Chris to check the transaction records of psychokinetic weapon battle techniques in the Dimensional Auction House. He knew about this place, but he didn't go in his previous life. Master, I don't have enough authority to check. Then how do I get the authority? Unless you obtain the identity of an auction house member and become a member of the Dimensional Auction House, you can buy and sell as you wish. How do I become a member? When your account balance reaches 100 million high-grade universe country currency, you can apply to become a member. Lin Jun's mouth twitched. 100 million Chilean dollars? That was 100 billion 3 Jian dollars, and he only had 10 million 3 Jian dollars on hand. The difference was simply too great. Although he temporarily couldn't obtain the psychokinetic weapon battle technique, Lin Jun at least had a goal. He would definitely raise enough money to become a member of the Dimensional Auction House. After losing this round, Lin Jun continued his battles in the Azura arena. In the following period of time, he didn't meet any overly strong fighters. At least he didn't meet anyone with the title of Azura. On the 10th day, Lin Jun won 692 rounds and lost 1 round. On the 11th day, Lin Jun won 739 rounds. On the 15th day, Lin Jun won 899 rounds. I've already participated in 900 Azura arena battles and only lost 1. As long as I win another 101 rounds, I'll be able to obtain the title of Azura. If I want to become the Azura King, the prerequisite is that I can't lose more than 10 rounds. Only then will I have a 99% win rate. However, with my current strength, taking down the Azura King will be very difficult. If I want to become the Red Star Azura, I have to win 1,000 rounds and lose no more than 50 rounds. After 50 rounds, I won't be able to maintain a 95% win rate. In the following battles, I'm afraid that my opponents will all be at the star stage. Even the chances of encountering Azura fighters will greatly increase. Fighting across 2 realms, I don't have much confidence. However, no matter what, I have to obtain the title of Red Star Azura. Let's hope it goes smoothly. Lin Jun rested for a while, adjusting his condition to the best, and entered the Azura arena once again. His time was tight. There were only 5 days left before the Anderson family's second assassin would arrive. In the city of ancient gods, Diana has gone to look for the World Stone in person. The World Stone is a world of its own. Except for those at the black hole stage and above, most people can't afford to use it, because space rings are enough for them. It can be said that the World Stone is the space ring of a super powerhouse. It's just that this space ring is a real world. In order to protect their belongings, there are usually dangers inside. The Master of Leia's Star is a nebula stage powerhouse, and he's also a 7-crowned Azura King. His belongings are enough to make many people jealous. Hurry up, don't miss a single stone. Check carefully, even a small stone can't be missed. Yuxian stood beside Diana and shouted loudly. Below, countless Sky River Empire soldiers were holding small detectors, scanning the stones one by one. In the distance, many people were demolishing the pyramids here. Diana glanced at Yuxian and asked, "Has your soul recovered?" "Countess, it has already recovered. Fortunately, you discovered Lin Jin's trick, otherwise I would have become his puppet for the rest of my life." "Humph. In order to save you, I wasted a soul stone. Countess's kindness. Yuxian has no way to repay it. I can only serve the Countess with my life." Diana nodded. "How many days will it take to dismantle these pyramids?" "At most a week. We will work overtime. It's a lot faster than the original plan." "Hurry up. Once the things here are over, we can return." Yuxian nodded, then said with some hesitation, "My lady, we have investigated that Lin Jun is fighting in the Azura field, and his record is very good." "He entered the satellite stage? What's his record?" Diana was taken aback. "It seems that he has completed more than 900 victories and only 3 defeats." Diana closed her eyes. "Not good. If he becomes a Red Star Azura, he will be able to get a loan from the Multiverse Bank. At that time, he will definitely apply to become a lord. At that time, I won't be able to stop him. If he becomes a lord, he will definitely drive us away. What should we do? What's his serial number, and what's his specific record?" His serial number is 77777888888899999, and his record is 915 wins and 3 losses. I want to stop him, Diana said with a firm tone. How? Yashin asked. Don't forget, I'm also a 4-star Golden Azura warrior, level 5 stellar level. I can also participate in the Azura field. As long as I keep challenging him to specific battles, he won't have time to participate in random challenges. Sooner or later, he will accept my challenge. But what if he doesn't accept? Chapter 413. Explode. A planet exploded in front of his eyes, and a huge light engulfed a second-level, stellar-level opponent. Lin Jun's body left the Shura field. 916 wins. Today, I will try to complete 925 wins, 1,000 wins in 4 days. This way, I will have 1 day to get the loan and become a lord. Lin Jun rested for a while and was about to fight when suddenly a designated battle challenge was sent to him. Master, Gold 4-star Azura warrior Diana has issued a challenge to you. You can choose to accept or refuse. Lin Jun frowned slightly. Diana actually issued a challenge to him. If it were any other time, Lin Jun wouldn't mind fighting with her, but at this critical moment of promoting to Azura, Lin Jun doesn't want to cause unnecessary trouble. This woman obviously has bad intentions. Is she trying to attack him through the Shura field? Refuse. Chris immediately refused for Lin Jun. Just as he was about to start a random battle, the other party issued another challenge. Master, Diana has issued a challenge to you again. Do you accept or refuse? Refuse. After refusing, before he could start a random battle, the challenge came again. Master, the other party has automatically challenged you in the Shura field. As long as you refuse, the other party will immediately issue another challenge. Can I block her? Lin Jun frowned. My authority isn't enough to block her. She is a gold 4-star Azura. Unless your star level is higher than her, or you promote to a red Azura, you can block her. So, as long as she keeps issuing challenges, and I refuse to accept her challenge, I won't be able to continue fighting. It's like this, if you don't accept her challenge, you won't be able to proceed to the next Shura field battle. Lin Jun couldn't help but curse. He completely understood the thoughts of this woman. She wants to prevent him from becoming an Azura. At least before the assassin arrives, she will continue to issue such challenges. If he loses, then his winning rate will be lowered, and he won't be able to promote to Azura in the end. Lin Jun thought for a while. Then accept. I have no choice. I won't be able to outlast her in the next few days. Accept. Opponent, Sky River Empire's Emerald Star Diana, Gold 4-star Azura warrior, 12,902 wins, 1098 losses, 92% win rate. Scene cut to desert. The scenery in front of him changed. Lin Jun appeared in the middle of a vast expanse of yellow sand. 100 meters away from him, Diana stood there, staring at him coldly. Countess Lin Jun, you finally accepted my challenge. I really didn't expect that such a shameless challenge would actually come from a lady. Diana sneered. Lin Jun, you still have a time to talk nonsense with me. I can tell you clearly that during this period of time, other than fighting me, you won't be able to participate in any other battles in the Azura arena. I will keep challenging you and defeating you. If you have the time, I can even lower your chances of winning to 50%. Then I'm truly honored to have a 4-star Golden Azura as my sparring partner. It turns out that you have so much time on your hands. Lin Jun, are you afraid? If you want to solve this problem, it's very simple. Take your group of disgusting pirates and leave the Earth immediately. Go as far as you can, but you're not allowed to set foot in the solar system again. Swear on your martial heart, and I will let you go. No need to say any more. I choose to fight you. Lin Jun pulled out his spear and said, You don't know what's good for you. Diana spat out a few cold words, then suddenly disappeared in the yellow sand. Behind me, Lin Jun hurriedly raised his spear to block, but Diana's sword slashed down heavily. Clang! A huge collision sound sounded, and Lin Jun's body shook slightly. The strength of the Galactic Beast's avatar is definitely far beyond any cultivator of the same level. Even if Diana is at the stellar stage, she won't have any advantage. What great strength! You really have some skills, but unfortunately, it's not always the case that the stronger one will win. Diana's sword didn't succeed, and her subsequent attacks were like a storm. Her sword skills can be described as exquisite, and Lin Zhan's spear couldn't gain any advantage at all. Soon, he was at a disadvantage. Spiritual attack. Lin Zhan's spiritual attack was released, and the two of them retreated at the same time. Diana was also a pinnacle diamond stage spirit reader. Lin Zhan wanted to use spatial cut, but Diana's movements were very strange. Lin Zhan couldn't predict her next move, and he couldn't find an opportunity to use spatial cut. Ta-ta-ta! Lin Zhan hurriedly took a few steps forward, then suddenly turned around and thrust his spear. Time acceleration. Lin Zhan has already mastered the time acceleration by 10 times, and his spear became fiercely faster. This was somewhat out of Diana's expectations, but her reaction was also very fast. Her shoulder shook, and Lin Zhan's spear didn't hit her. It hurt Diana, but it didn't make her lose her ability to fight. Huh, this is your trump card, right? You almost succeeded, but Lin Zhan, you won't have such an opportunity again. Gravity space. Diana's mind moved, and a dark space enveloped her. This was actually her domain. Suddenly, a strong pressure fell from the sky, and Lin Zhan's feet sank into the sand. Lin Zhan had seen Korov's gravity field, but that gravity field was full of flaws and was very fragile. Lin Zhan's thunder kill could break it. However, Diana's gravity space was absolutely different. Lin Zhan's shoulders instantly felt as if he was carrying a mountain. This was actually 100 times gravity. Star River Domain. Lin Zhan also used his Star River Domain to resist, but his Star River Domain was suppressed by Diana's gravity space. Ha ha ha! I didn't expect you to also master a domain, but it's a pity that your domain is only a first-rank domain. My domain's power has already reached second rank. You can't suppress me, but you will be suppressed by me. Lin Zhan, you don't have a chance. In this case, Lin Zhan's spear attack became very slow. Lin Zhan's spear attack couldn't even reach his normal spear attack speed. Lin Zhan's mind moved, and he began to prepare his star explosion. However, his current star explosion speed was still very slow, and it took him more than 2 seconds to complete it. Diana didn't give Lin Zhan this opportunity. Under the support of her gravity field, she quickly rushed over and used a series of killing moves to knock down Lin Zhan. This process took her less than a second. The scene changed, and Lin Zhan left the Azura field. Before he could do anything, another challenge came. It was still Diana. She didn't give Lin Zhan any time at all. She wanted to do, as she said, and keep pestering Lin Zhan for the next few days. She definitely wouldn't let him advance to Azura. Lin Zhan was also annoyed. Good, then let's fight again. Resolutely returning to the Azura field, Lin Zhan and Diana once again fought. The result this time wasn't much better than the last time. Diana directly opened her gravity space, and Lin Zhan also opened his star core domain to deal with his opponent. However, his speed was suppressed too much. Lin Zhan wanted to condense his star explosion, but Diana didn't give him the chance. In 1 seconds, Lin Zhan was defeated again. Lin Zhan learned his lesson this time and started to condense his star explosion. However, Diana's gravity space was also very fast. She opened her gravity space and chased after Lin Zhan. This time, it was slightly better, lasting 2 seconds. My technique seems to be able to improve a little. Again, Lin Zhan accepted the challenge again and returned. This kind of battle couldn't be felt in a virtual environment. A battle between life and death could often stimulate one's potential. Lin Zhan had some enlightenment in his technique and successfully shortened the condensing time of his star explosion by 0.3 seconds. However, this speed was still not enough. He lasted 1.5 seconds, and before he could condense his star explosion, he was eliminated by Diana again. The 5th time, the 6th time, the 10th time, the 20th time, time flew by quickly. Lin Zhan's star explosion technique became more and more skillful in this life and death situation. However, that was all. Diana was faster, and he didn't manage to release his star explosion even once. When Lin Jun was eliminated for the 40th time, he finally calmed down. Lin Jun ignored Diana and silently thought about the battle just now. The strength of the Venus Azura was indeed extraordinary. After all, Lin Jun's cultivation time was still too short. His star core domain and star explosion were not fully formed, and he couldn't break Diana's gravity space. If he couldn't break this gravity space, he wouldn't be able to win. If he couldn't win, he wouldn't be able to obtain the title of Azura, and it would cause a series of chain reactions. If he wanted to win, the only way was to increase the speed of his star explosion and destroy her gravity space. Lin Jun had already memorized the process of star explosion. If he could complete it within 0.5 seconds, he still had a chance. These failures weren't in vain. My star explosion and time acceleration have improved, and I can complete it within 1.5 seconds. However, if I want to increase it from 1.5 to 0.5, it's not enough to rely on technique alone, unless my mind power improves greatly. Lin Jun thought of Jerry, the Red 7-star Azura martial artist. His mind power had already surpassed the Diamond Realm. If Lin Jun reached that realm, his star explosion completion speed would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. If I want to improve my mind power, there's only one way, and that is to let my mind power enter the black hole in my dark star. Under the stimulation of the black hole, my mind power will increase rapidly. The core of Lin Jun's dark star was a neutron, and the neutron contained the aura of the black hole. However, unless it was absolutely necessary, Lin Jun really didn't want to face the black hole. I can't care so much. At this realm, many martial artists have the mind power of the Diamond Realm. If I want to be one step ahead, I have to take risks. I already have 915 wins and 41 losses. If I lose again, I won't be able to obtain the Red Star Azura title in a short period of time. Lin Jun simply left the dimensional universe and left the Azura arena. If he wanted to break through his mind power, he needed a quiet environment. Lin Jun has left the dimensional universe. Diana sent out the challenge. When she saw that Lin Jun's name was grayed out, she knew that he had left. Huh, have you finally given up? You finally know that you have no hope of defeating me. Speaking of which, you are quite persistent. You lost 40 consecutive matches before giving up. However, you finally understand that as long as I have the gravity space, you won't be able to win. As long as you don't have a way to obtain the Azura title, you won't be able to obtain the Earth Overlord title. Lin Jun, you are finished. Chapter 414. Lin Jun has left the dimensional universe. In a VIP lounge of the Azura arena, Jerry, who had once defeated Lin Jun, was drinking with another warrior. To be able to have a VIP lounge in the Azura arena, one's status was either rich or respectable. The daily rent was millions of Three River dollars. Ordinary people definitely couldn't afford it. There was a circular screen on the wall, and the room could even see the live broadcast of the Azura arena's battles. Lin Jun had seen the other warrior before. It was the first Azura warrior he had met, Han Sha. Han Sha was a 5-star gold Azura back then, but now he was a 6-star red Azura. It was clear that he had improved a lot during this time. Yes, he left. Could it be that he didn't want to stay in the Azura arena anymore? Jerry asked. It shouldn't be that bad. If he couldn't even withstand such a small blow, then his mental fortitude is a little too weak, Han Sha said. Hee. Of course, I have to pay attention to the person you recommended. However, I think we should observe a little more. If this Lin Jun can successfully defeat that woman, then we can consider recruiting him into the organization. If he can't even pass this stage, then he doesn't have the qualifications to join us. All right, it's decided then. The camp for those under 100 years old will begin in 2 years. I heard that it's training in a world stone. This Lin Jun and Chun Feng Lai are both less than 100 years old. Especially this Lin Jun. He's only 23 years old this year. He's really a good seedling. It would be a pity if he couldn't participate. A good seedling is a good seedling, but if he can't withstand setbacks, then he'll still be a flower in a greenhouse. Let's see his performance. If he succeeds, then we'll give him a big surprise. Han Sha and Jerry sat there with a common symbol embroidered on their bodies. Galactic Beast. Galactic beasts were wandering beasts in the universe. Such a powerful species was worshipped by many races in the universe. For example, the symbol of the Fire Chelan Empire, a high-leveled civilization, was the super galactic beast Fire Chelan. Having the bloodline of a galactic beast was something many people yearned for and pursued. Hence, there was an organization in the universe called the Galactic Beast Alliance. These people tried their best to implant the genes of beasts that were more compatible with them into their bodies to stimulate the power of their bloodline. Those who succeeded would be able to obtain talents that ordinary people could only dream of. The Galactic Beast Alliance was definitely a super organization in the universe. They could be found in all the universe countries. Countless people wanted to join them, but they might not be willing to take them in. With limited resources, they could only take in geniuses. The outstanding ones could rise to the top and obtain unimaginable resources and status. Jerry and Hansha were members of the Galactic Beast Alliance in the Sanjiang Federation. Lin Jun and Chen Fenglai were both candidates that they thought highly of. Lin Jun left the dimensional universe as his avatar familiarized himself with the Starburst technique. His main attention was focused on his main body. His main body was still cultivating on the moon. With an avatar moving around outside, the main body had the advantage of being able to cultivate without stopping. At this moment, he was completely focused on the dark star. Nothing was going to disturb him. In the end, I still have to take this step. I still have to deal with this black hole. In the previous few times, I even had the courage to fight against the black hole. However, that was because I had no choice and was passive. This time, I have to take the initiative. Earth was very important to Lin Jun. If he couldn't even protect his home after his rebirth would be a failure. Hence, for this, he had to face the black hole bravely. The diamond-like, resplendent, spiritual energy began to enter the dark star. It penetrated the surface, the rocky layer, the crust, and the core, reaching the core. After the core, it was the core of the dark star. Lin Jun's spiritual energy lingered outside for a while before he finally mustered the courage to enter the core. At the core, there was a neutron that came from a black hole in the universe. His spiritual energy enveloped the neutron and slowly seeped in. Gradually, the aura that made Lin Jun's soul tremble appeared. Black hole. Through the vision of his spiritual energy, Lin Jun saw that within the neutron, there was a seemingly small but seemingly huge universe trap, a black hole. Some people believe that the formation of a black hole was caused by the explosion of a supermassive star. The powerful energy of the explosion caused space to collapse. Cosmic space and dimensional space became chaotic. Cosmic storms spun, forming a black hole that could devour everything. The light emitted by the explosion of a star was the speed of light. Hence, the range of the light was the horizon of the black hole. Within this horizon, light couldn't escape the suction of the black hole. Lin Jun saw the black hole. His spiritual energy couldn't escape from this suction. Whoosh! The world spun. It was like a huge black hole that led to the eternal void, sucking Lin Jun's spiritual energy in. Although the black hole inside the neutron could not be compared to a real black hole. As it was a miniature black hole, the remnant of a real black hole, it still made Lin Jun's limbs turn cold. Black and white rays of light flashed past him, circle after circle. It was as if they were traversing between the real world and the illusory world. The pulling force from his soul gave Lin Jun a headache that felt like it was going to explode. It's coming again. Lin Jun had experienced this pain before. His soul had experienced it before. At that time, Lin Jun had just died. His hope for life had allowed him to hold on. But this time he was still alive. His soul was still alive in this world. There must be nothing more painful than this. Lin Jun's soul was screaming. His spiritual energy was twisting. His body was twitching nonstop on the moon, but he couldn't move or say a word. He wanted to give up immediately. He didn't even want to hold on for a second. As long as he stopped the dark star, the black hole in the dark star might stop as well. However, Lin Jun couldn't do that. He had to hold on. He swore that he would only hold on for a second. After a second, It was as if thousands of steel needles had pierced into his brain and were stirring it up desperately, turning his brain into a paste. His will told him to hold on for another second. In the second, he felt as if every bone in his body had been smashed, reassembled, and then smashed again. I think I can still hold on for 3 more seconds. In the third second, Lin Jun felt as if his flesh was being torn apart piece by piece. It was only a little bit each time, but the frequency was so high that it made his soul spasm. In the fourth second, his spiritual energy was in a state of dizziness. In the fifth second, he woke up from the pain again. Then he told himself that he had to hold on for 6 more seconds. I must hold on. I must see what is in this black hole. As long as I'm still alive, I must see. His body was lying on the ring-shaped mountain. His sweat had already turned the soil around him into mud. Around his spiritual energy, a terrifying cosmic storm was tearing back and forth. He felt as if he was a ghost, changing his shape at any time. And all the way to the depths of the black hole, 1 minute. To Lin Jun, this 1 minute felt like 100 years. Every second was hell, hell within hell. The black hole was so deep and long that it seemed to have no end. If it were anyone else, they would have died by now. The pain in the depths of their souls would have killed them. However, Lin Jun could still hold on because he remembered the scene when he passed through the black hole last time. If he could hold on the first time, there was no reason why he could not hold on the second time. Moreover, he could feel that his spiritual energy, which had not moved for a long time, was showing signs of loosening and growth under this stimulation that exceeded the limits of human endurance. Joy and hope were the motivation for a person to persevere in a hopeless situation. 10 minutes later, it did not seem so unbearable anymore. Although the pain was only the difference between the 18th level of hell and the 17th level of hell, it was still hope for Lin Jun. Fortunately, this was not a real giant black hole. The cosmic storm inside was not enough to kill him. Moreover, neutrons would not be formed here, and planets would not be born and destroyed here. He had already adapted to the pain a little. Lin Jun did not know how long the long journey through the black hole had been. He had forgotten how many times he had been in so much pain. He only maintained a little obsession in his heart and maintained a little clarity in his mind as he walked toward the end of the black hole. Perhaps 100 hours or 100 days had passed, but he finally saw a dot of light. More accurately, he felt a dot. A naked singularity. A naked singularity was a gravitational singularity surrounded by a horizon in theory. Some people believed that a black hole was formed by the naked singularity and the horizon surrounding it. Even the fastest light could not escape the horizon. Therefore, people outside the black hole would never be able to see the inside of the black hole. However, a naked singularity was the opposite. Light and other particles had a chance to escape the singularity to a distant place, so the horizon did not exist. Therefore, a singularity was the source of space-time distortion and the center of a black hole. When Lin Jun's soul arrived at the edge of the singularity, he had an epiphany. Just like there was no wind in the center of a storm, the safest place in a black hole was the core singularity. There was a strong vitality and power here. The surrounding space-time was like dye in water, floating back and forth and twisting strangely. When he came into contact with the power of the singularity, Lin Jun's pain was suddenly swept away. What replaced it was the strengthening of his spiritual energy. Crack! His diamond-level spiritual energy began to shatter. A jade-green color began to blossom from the inside of his spiritual power. If Lin Jun's diamond-level spiritual energy cluster was a flower bud, then these verdant lines were the flowers that had bloomed. I broke through. My spiritual energy has broken through. I've reached a realm that I've never heard of in my previous life. Although it's my first time, I can instinctively feel that this spiritual energy should be called azure-level spiritual energy. When the azure-level energy appeared on the diamond, Lin Jun's spiritual energy began to surge like a tide. Chapter 415. The energy from the singularity was injected into Lin Jun's mental strength, causing his mental strength to skyrocket. This time it really skyrocketed. When the first strand of azure appeared, it started to spread on the diamond mental strength mass like a silk thread. It was like a piece of diamond that had been fused with jade, forming a pattern that was gradually expanding. 1%, 10%, 15%, 30%. This was an extremely enjoyable process. Lin Jun felt like he was floating in a warm ocean. The joy brought by the growth of his mental strength was indescribable. His thoughts were spreading, his strength was increasing, and time was passing quietly. Lin Jun didn't know how long had passed. In a trance, the growth of his mental strength finally stopped. In the vision of his mental strength, he realized that the black hole had stopped operating and the singularity had disappeared. The surrounding time and space seemed to have frozen, losing its vitality and vitality. The black hole had turned into a white hole. Just like how stars had a lifespan, so did black holes. No black hole could exist forever. When it lost its power, it would become a dead white hole and eventually disappear. Now, the black hole in Lin Jun's dark star had died. The singularity, the power of the singularity has completely disappeared. Its vision no longer exists. The black hole has lost its core power and everything is about to turn into nothingness. Lin Jun heaved a long sigh of relief. When he looked at the mental strength mass in his body, he was overjoyed. The originally dazzling diamond mental strength mass had turned into a diamond, an azure color. The azure energy had reached 50%. I've actually reached the mid-stage of heavenly green. How powerful is my mind power? You have to know that I had many fortuitous encounters to complete the peak of diamond mind power. But now, just half of my mind power has become heavenly green, and my total mind power has doubled. The power of azure isn't something diamond can compare to. So far, Lin Jun had met too many people, but only the red star azure Jerry had azure mental strength. Moreover, Lin Jun felt that his mental strength had definitely not reached the middle stage of azure. It was only at the early stage. I reckon that the highest spirit reader at the stellar level only has the power of azure. Most of the stellar level spirit readers have already lived for thousands of years. I'm only 23 years old. Lin Jun's heart also surged with a trace of pride. His achievements in this life had already far surpassed those of his previous life. With a thought, Lin Jun's mental power flew out from the core of the planet and reached the surface of the dark star. The dark star world had already stabilized. The primordial universe was slowly moving forward along with the operation of the dark star world. The mountains, rivers, and oceans had already taken shape. There was wind and light. It already had the basic conditions for the birth of life. Withdrawing his spiritual force, Lin Jun found himself lying on the ring-shaped mountain. Looking at the time, he realized that he had used a total of 3 days to cultivate this time. 2 more days, 2 more days. I estimate that the second batch of killers of Anderson clan will arrive. Before that, I have to fight for the title of Azura and become a lord. If I were in the primordial universe, I reckon that Diana would immediately come to stop me. Now, I need some time to practice Starburst. This time, I must give that woman a big surprise. Lin Jun sat up and slowly closed his eyes. With a wave of his hand, his mental power rapidly revolved. A planet was born. Success. Previously, Lin Jun had spent a lot of effort to condense it, but he still couldn't break through 5 seconds. Now, he casually condensed it and it reached the ideal 5 seconds. Moreover, this wasn't Lin Jun's limit. His mental power still had room for acceleration. Combining his mental power with time acceleration, Lin Jun condensed Starburst again. 39 seconds. Great, it's actually lower than 0. For seconds, I still have to compress the time a little more. The faster the Starburst, the better. As long as it's faster, I can even release Starburst consecutively. This will definitely become a great killing weapon in battle. Lin Jun excitedly began to study Starburst on the ring-shaped mountain. Although the acceleration was getting slower and slower, under Lin Jun's repeated optimizations, the Starburst time was continuously shortened. About 5 hours later, Lin Jun felt that his technique had reached its limit. He couldn't shorten it any further. As for the duration of the starburst, he had successfully reduced it to 0.2 seconds, which was the highest level he could reach at the moment. One starburst every 0.2 seconds. I can release 5 starbursts in a second. However, this is only in my normal state. If I'm in the galaxy domain, I can compress the starburst to 0.14 seconds. That's 7 starbursts per second. With a thought, the galaxy domain appeared. Lin Jun raised his hand. Within a second, the 7 elements in his body turned into 7 planets and appeared. They were arranged like the Big Dipper. As long as Lin Jun was willing, these 7 planets would become 7 nuclear bombs that could launch a fatal attack at any time. At this point, Lin Jun let out a long sigh. The harvest this time was too great. He withdrew the galaxy domain and raised his hand again. Within a second, 5 planets appeared and rotated in his palm like a ring. Go! With a wave of his hand, the 5 planets rushed out like meteors and exploded on the surface of the moon in the distance. Rumble. The surface of the moon was covered in a layer of smoke and dust. The 5 energy waves pushed the smoke and dust and blocked the moonlight. At this moment, the moon couldn't be seen from Earth. 5 new ring-shaped mountains were born. Apart from the lack of nuclear radiation, the power of these 5 starbursts wasn't inferior to a nuclear bomb. Lin Jun's mouth curved into a smile. Azura Field, I'm back. Chris appeared. Lin Jun's consciousness entered the dimensional universe again and appeared outside the Azura Field. In the city of ancient gods, a group of soldiers worked together and pushed down the last pyramid. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. This is the last one. We must check all the stones within 2 days. Yixin shouted loudly. At the same time, she said to Diana, Countess, it will be done soon. That world stone must be in the last pyramid. Diana frowned slightly. How could there be such a coincidence? There were so many pyramids and no world stone was found. Could it be in the last one? It shouldn't be wrong. The world stone is just a stone. This place is full of sand and the stone is here. It can't have flown out. Let's hope so. At this moment, Diana's AI sent a notification. Master, Lin Jun has entered the dimensional universe. Go to the dimensional universe immediately. It's the last 2 days. We can't let anything happen. Diana entered the dimensional universe and immediately issued a designated challenge to Lin Jun. The time difference was less than 3 seconds. After issuing the challenge, she let out a long sigh. Lin Jun didn't have a chance. In her opinion, Lin Jun didn't dare to accept the challenge. After all, he had lost more than 40 rounds. If he lost again, it would be even harder to take down the Red Star Azura. Unexpectedly, the moment the designated challenge was issued, the AI sent a notification. The opponent has accepted the challenge. Map generated, ice field. With a flash, a vast expanse of white wilderness appeared around him. Large amounts of snowflakes fell from the sky. The world was vast, and only Lin Jun was standing opposite him. Diana stepped on the new snow and walked forward. Seeing that Lin Jun didn't move, she didn't rush to open the gravity space. Earl Lin Jun, I advise you to give up. With me watching you personally, it's wishful thinking for you to become an Azura. Is there no hope at all? Lin Jun asked. Of course there's no chance. Even if you don't accept my challenge, with your current win rate and number of rounds, it's impossible to complete the Azura challenge in 2 days. Why did Lady Diana say 2 days? Is something going to happen in 2 days? Lin Jun squinted and smiled. Diana suddenly realized that she had said something wrong. However, she didn't care too much. Lin Jun was going to be a dead man. There was no need to be calculative with a dead man. Why am I wasting time with you? Lin Jun, take your overlord dream to hell. The solar system will never belong to you. Gravity space. Diana's mind moved and the gravity space was created. At the same time, Lin Jun raised his hand. Within 0.2 seconds, a planet appeared in Lin Jun's palm. On this planet, Lin Jun had filled it with intense gold chi. Gold energy was released like a porcupine. Lin Jun stared at Diana. You said that the solar system isn't mine. However, it's even more impossible for it to belong to an outsider like you. Diana, Scram is your only choice. Have a taste of the power of the solar system's planet. Golden star explosion. 100 times gravity. Diana felt a strong sense of uneasiness. Gravity immediately shrouded Lin Jun. However, it was too late. The simulated golden star in Lin Jun's hand exploded in Diana's gravity space. A light spot was born. It shrunk and then released violently. The virtual space of the Azura field was shaking. Diana's gravity space cracked, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. However, she didn't give up on the gravity space. She forcefully maintained the gravity space with her level 5 stellar-level star power. Without this space, she wasn't confident that she could defeat Lin Jun. Hee, you can still hold on. Then, have a taste of this. Jupiter explosion. Lin Jun shook his hand, and another planet exploded. Rumble. Diana's gravity space finally couldn't withstand it and shattered like a mirror. Diana screamed and spat out a large mouthful of blood. The two explosions had almost displaced her internal organs. Once the gravity space was gone, Lin Jun advanced rapidly. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Diana. His long hair fluttered, and he smashed his hand over. Diana, I'll collect some interest today. Get out of here. Mercury explosion. The mercury, which contained strong ice elements, was released from Lin Jun's palm and exploded in front of Diana. Chapter 416. This mercury burst sent Diana flying high into the air. Her entire body had been cut by the ice blades and was dripping with blood. However, she was still breathing and not dead. Lin Jun did not continue to use Mars explosion and Saturn explosion. With a thought, he teleported behind Diana and raised his hand to grab her long hair. This is just a little interest, Diana. We'll meet again. A ball of hot flames surged out of Lin Jun's palm and swallowed Diana. A second later, Diana turned to ash. At the same time, Lin Jun also left the Azura arena. His number of victories had finally increased by 1 to 917. After waiting for a while, Lin Jun saw that there was no movement from Diana. Lin Jun sneered and started the next random battle. He could finally fight normally. When he fought against Star Stage experts, every battle was a fierce battle. This time, after learning Starburst, Lin Jun started to end the battle quickly. The Starburst was indeed a super combat technique. Without opening the Celestial River domain, most of the star-level experts would not be able to resist it. The only ones with some fighting power were Shura warriors, and the average Silver Star Shura wasn't Lin Jun's match. His record started to soar. 920 wins, 41 losses, 935 wins. For wins, 41 losses. After 950 victories, Lin Jun's opponents were basically all Shura warriors. However, his battle speed did not decrease at all. He could end a battle almost every minute, and the longest battle he had lasted was less than 5 minutes. During this time, Lin Jun's luck wasn't bad. From 950 to 990 wins, he only met a Red Star Shura. He lost one battle and won the rest. Time continued to pass. Diana looked at Lin Jun's rising record and felt a chill in her heart. If this continues, Lin Jun's 1,000 wins is only a matter of time. Maybe in an hour or two, he can become a Red Star Shura. I can't resist his star explosion skill. She asked about the city of ancient gods' progress, but she still hadn't found the World Stone. If she could find the World Stone now, she would leave immediately. Unfortunately, she couldn't find it. Once Lin Jun got the title and money and became a lord, he would definitely chase her away. Diana was unwilling to accept this. She brought a large group of people and drove Sky City to Earth in order to obtain the World Stone. If she was chased out like this, she would not be able to forgive herself. What to do? Lin Jun would be protected by the law if he became a lord. Moreover, he would be a Red Star Jura. The Empire would no longer favor him, and would even favor Lin Jun. It seems that some things need to be prepared early. I have to make a choice. Lin Jun, you forced me to do this. Diana contacted the Anderson family again. Phew, 999 wins and 45 losses. I'm almost there. Lin Jun lost 2 more matches, both to the Red Star Azura. If he won one more match, he would advance. He thought that he would meet a strong opponent this time, but the god of fate favored Lin Jun and let him meet a Silver Star Azura. Lin Jun had finally achieved 1,000 victories after ending the battle in a crushing manner. Ding! Congratulations, Master! You have completed 1,000 victories in the Azura arena, and your win rate has reached 95%. You will receive the Red Star Azura title. A red star appeared on Lin Jun's chest. Lin Jun exhaled. He didn't stop at all and directly went to the bank. I want to apply for a loan. The bank's receptionist immediately received Lin Jun. Because Lin Jun was a Red Star Azura, he could take out a loan of 1 billion Sanjian dollars. The bank was very efficient. It only took 5 minutes to verify his identity, issue the loan, and receive the money. 1 billion Sanjian dollars was equivalent to 1 trillion Skyriver dollars. Lin Jun immediately went to Jadeite Star to apply for a land. It was still the same receptionist as last time, but his attitude was completely different. Lin Jun's identity as a Red Star Azura is very noble. It's common in the entire Sanjiang Federation. The people of the Sky River Empire don't dare to neglect him, not to mention that Lin Jun is a count of the empire. Count Lin Jun, your application has been submitted successfully. We have also received 250 billion Skyriver dollars. The Empire's Government Council will complete the review within 12 hours and give you a reply. Do I need 12 hours? Can't they just approve it directly? Mr. Count, you've applied for a territory of 10 million star kilometers, which is a distance of 1 light year. Such a large area can't be reviewed in one go. I can assure you that we won't slack off. There are no problems with your procedures. As long as the review is completed, we'll deduct the other 150 billion from your deposit. At that time, your fief will be in our hands. Well, I hope you can do it as soon as possible. Sure, 12 hours is just a conservative estimate. Generally speaking, it may be completed in 7 or 8 hours. Once it's completed, we will call you immediately. Okay, then I'll go back and wait. Lin Jun left the hearing room. This time, he went to the Sanjiang Federation through the dimensional universe. He wants to buy a trapping net. The price of a trapping net fluctuates greatly. Lin Jun finally chose a trapping net worth 150 million Skyriver dollars. This is almost the best trapping net can be used to capture a constant crystal battleship. Please rest assured, we will deliver the goods to you immediately. According to your request, we will go through the wormhole, then go through the parallel universe. We should be able to deliver it to your planet within 5 hours. Lin Jun nodded and left the dimensional universe. The only thing he can do now is wait. Wait for him to become a lord. Wait for the trapping net to be delivered. However, he always felt that Diana would never sit still and wait for death. Lin Jun is also clear about the progress of the city of ancient gods. They haven't found the world's stone yet. Now it seems that they are too late. In short, as long as Lin Jun obtained the title of Lord, she would immediately chase these people away. If they still dared to stay, Lin Jun would have a legitimate reason to attack. Hua hua. The screen flashed a few times, and Diana saw Anderson Slough. Slough is a 3-star red Azura martial artist, star level 9. He is the pride of the younger generation of the Anderson family. Sasha, who was killed by Lin Jun on Earth, is his sister. This time, he is here to complete the mission and also to take revenge for his sister. When he saw Diana appear, Slough's expression turned ugly. Miss Diana, what is the meaning of this? Our Anderson family always does what we say. If we say that we will complete the mission, then we will definitely complete it. We will not tarnish our reputation because of such a small matter. You don't have to keep rushing us. Diana waved her hand. Mr. Slough, that is not what I mean. I am here to talk to you about another mission. Still talking about a mission? What mission? Lin Jun's mission hasn't been completed yet. This mission and the previous mission can be considered one. They are both related to Lin Jun. As long as you help me this time, I will pay you another commission. As Diana spoke, she raised 5 fingers. 500 million Sanjian dollars. This is the greatest sincerity I can offer. Slough did not come alone. He brought some people with him. He exchanged glances with the others and saw the excitement in their eyes. 500 million three-river dollars was not a small sum. It was enough to buy a small planet. The only thing was that they did not know what Diana wanted to do. Please state your request. It's like this. I hate the people of this planet. I need to completely conquer this place. However, this planet will soon have an overlord. I need helpers. I ask you to help me. If the natives dare to resist, kill them all. That's right, Yishuan said. Whether you succeed or kill them all, you will have completed the mission. Of course, Linjun must die. This is my mission. Can't your army complete this task? Slough asked. No, my army is made up of people from the Sky River Empire. Once a lord appears, they won't dare to act. I need external forces. Slough looked at Diana's somewhat ferocious face and thought for a while. You should be a noble of the Sky River Empire. Is the lord you are talking about Linjun? This is against the laws of the Sky River Empire. Your noble status may not be preserved. Of course I know, but I have no other choice now. Linjun is too much. No one here welcomes me. I must take revenge. Even if I don't become a noble of the Sky River Empire, I am still a Gold Star Azura. I can go to any country in the Sanjiang Federation and live well. Diana let out a long sigh. In short, I have given you the conditions. You can consider whether to accept them or not. Slough smiled and said, why not? We are not from the Sky River Empire. The laws of the Sky River Empire cannot bind us. If you're not afraid, why should we be afraid? It's not the style of a mercenary to not make money. 500 million Sanjiang yuan. Even if this planet is destroyed, it is worth it. Okay, then it's settled. How long will it take for you to arrive? About 7 hours. We will reach the sky above the earth. Diana nodded. Then I'll go make preparations now and let those useless troops leave. These people will only get in the way when the time comes. It's enough to leave only my confidants here. Very good. We like to conquer and destroy. Miss Diana, I will see you on Earth in a while. Let's play on this native planet and let them know what fear is. See you on Earth. I'm also looking forward to the arrival of that moment. I can't wait any longer. After the communication ended, Diana's face showed a cold, killing intent. Chapter 417. Today is the winter of year 998 of the God Change calendar. There is still a week until the new year, but today a major event happened. Countess Diana from the Sky River Empire announced the start of interstellar migration. During this period of time, the Sky River Empire's army has issued a lot of pauper identities on Earth. This is also thanks to the identity issued by Linjun. Seeing that Linjun has issued tens of thousands of identities, Diana had no choice but to issue some identities in order to appease her people. During this period of time, the propaganda made the people of Earth accept the outside world. They know that there is an endless sea of stars outside the Earth, and there are too many wonderful things to explore. Many people have a yearning for the outside world. And now, Diana announced the start of immigration to other planets. Diana's speech was being broadcasted on all the television programs and the internet. All the people of Earth, during this period of time, you should have recognized your identity. You are a member of the Sky River Empire. The planet under your feet, as well as the endless starry sky outside the planet. All the places you can see with your eyes and telescopes are the territory of the Sky River Empire. Outside the Earth, there are endless worlds. Now, a batch of my army is about to return. Here, I call on all the people of Earth to leave with the army. Whether you have obtained citizenship, pauper identity, or no identity, you can leave unconditionally. My army will take off from the capital cities of various countries. There are only 3 hours left before the departure time. If you're willing to leave, please arrive at the capital city within 3 hours and board the spaceship to leave. They will take you to the new world. There is nothing left to be attached to on this planet. I wish you good luck on your interstellar journey. Diana's speech ended, but it set off an uproar on Earth. Can we leave Earth? At this moment, Earth was in an uproar. Countless people wanted to go to the Sea of Stars, but there were also many who found it hard to leave their homeland. Some wanted to leave, while others did not want to leave. Many people disregarded everything and flew away from their homes to the capital city. Although there are many mutant beasts on the way, they can't stop people's enthusiasm for pursuing the New World. They have already seen the propaganda of the New World for a long time. There are no mutant beasts outside, no danger, happy life, and infinite beautiful universes to enjoy. If there is such a beautiful place, why stay on this dangerous earth? Just as the people were about to leave their homes in a frenzy, Lin Jun appeared and said a few words. My fellow Earthlings, I am Lin Jun, currently the Count of the Sky River Empire. In the near future, I will become the Lord of this starry sky. At that time, everything within a light year will be my territory. You can go anywhere you want, just like a tourist. Yes, I am Lin Jun. Diana's promise to you is not credible. No one will be willing to accept you without strength. Frankly speaking, you're not even qualified to be slaves. Here, I advise you to be patient. Those who are willing to follow me, I will give them a beautiful future. Lin Jun's words were like a bucket of cold water poured over the heated crowd. Lin Jun did not reveal too much information in his speech. He only said that he would become the Lord and hoped that the people would stay. Diana's army was about to set off. Now, there were only two choices in front of everyone: to believe in Diana or to believe in Lin Jun. It can be said that most people on Earth are still willing to believe in Lin Jun, especially in Huaxia. After Lin Jun came forward to speak, the senior officials of Huaxia also immediately issued a statement, asking all citizens to stay calm. They don't need to do anything. As long as they wait patiently, happiness will come. Now, among the senior officials of Huaxia, many people have been granted citizenship by Lin Jun. They have also accepted this identity. In such an interstellar era, it is no longer possible to maintain the independence of each country on Earth. Therefore, although the senior officials are still there, many things have to be done according to Lin Jun's wishes. The people of Huaxia calmed down. Except for some extreme cases, most people chose to wait. In the sky above Beijing Bay City, a large number of spaceships were preparing to leave. Only a few tens of thousands of Huaxia people chose to leave. For Huaxia, with a population of hundreds of millions, this is a drop in the bucket. Compared with Huaxia, the African Union and Brazil also left very few people. They have always maintained a friendly relationship with Huaxia. In response to Lin Jun and Huaxia's call, not many people left. Recently, the European Union and Huaxia have also been very close. Although many people left, it did not affect the overall situation. As for the United States, very few people left this time. The massacre of Sky City in the United States led to the annihilation of the senior officials of this country. They have a mentality of rejection of the Sky River Army, so not many people left this time. Only Russia and India, the senior officials of these two countries, publicly refuted Huaxia and Lin Jun, saying that they have ulterior motives and want to harm the future of Earth's people. This time, Lin Jun's identity was given to these two countries the least. They don't want to think about why Lin Jun treated them like this. They were just jealous of Lin Jun. They can't beat Lin Jun, but they can at least leave, right? They responded to Diana's call very much. Under the leadership of the senior officials, they even started a national migration. Countless people flocked to the New Delhi and Moscow Bay cities. A sea of people. This was the only way to describe the situation in these two Bay cities. More than 100 million people had gathered in Moscow, and more than 300 million people had gathered in New Delhi Bay City. The fiery scene was a little out of control, and there were even many incidents of trampling and even killing. This was because the spaceship that was about to leave could not hold so many people. In order to compete for the front seats, former compatriots did not hesitate to fight each other. In front of the console of the Black Pearl, Su Mingyue and Ning stood beside Lin Jun. Ning asked, Lin Jun, what do you think they will get? Needless to say, those who leave definitely won't be able to survive. These people have zero value in the interstellar. Just like I said, they don't even have the qualifications to be slaves. I guess Diana's people will kill them all in the interstellar. They can only become the dust of the universe. Su Mingyue covered her mouth and said with some surprise, Then why don't you stop them? If you were more specific with them, they might have saved a lot of people. Lin Jun rubbed Su Mingyue's little head and said, You are very kind, but didn't I say it? They didn't believe me. Look at Huaxia and a few other countries. Many people have already stayed. I gave them a chance, but they still want to leave. This is called the evils of one's own making. Yes, you don't have to care about these people. They're all against Lin Jun, and staying is also an unstable factor. If they're willing to die, why should we worry? Su Minghua also instinctively did not want to see too many people die. When she heard that these people were against Lin Jun, she immediately changed her attitude. Although she was kind, when it came to Lin Jun, it was different. Her man was more important. Well, I don't care about people who don't like Lin Jun. Lin Jun looked at Su Minghua's small appearance and couldn't help but laugh. He gently hugged them in his arms. As long as his loved ones are still here, it's enough. Among the crowds of the two base cities, the advantages of the warriors were revealed. Some warriors and generals jumped over people's heads and rushed to the spaceship. The soldiers of the Sky River Empire who received the order to retreat guarded the gate. Too many people who didn't obey the order have fallen under their feet. Even if they were martial artists, they had to follow the rules and enter the spaceship in a single file. Their entrance is the bottom cabin of each spaceship. The dark environment is very bad. Many people were injured on the way here. Some people were scratched by mutated beasts, and some even had fractures. They were sweating profusely from the pain, but their faces were still full of hope and excitement. People were like sardines, lining up next to each other. A strong smell of sweat and even worse smell of feces and urine wafted through the air, but no one cared. Compared to leaving Earth, this problem is not a problem at all. People were excitedly discussing what kind of beautiful planet they would go to. They might be able to find some extraterrestrial mates and start a new life. Outside the spaceship, the 3-hour departure time was getting closer and closer. After 2 hours and 50 minutes, the people on the spaceship were notified that the cabin will be closed in 10 minutes. All the people who received the order to return will leave. There were still countless people in the square. Hearing that the spaceship was about to leave, the orderly crowd suddenly became chaotic. The people in the back rushed forward crazily, while the people in the front couldn't help themselves. They were either trampled to death by the crowd or pushed into the cabin. The guards didn't care about this at all. Once someone rushed over, they raised the butcher's knife in their hand and waved it fiercely. The muzzles on the spaceship were also opened at this moment. A series of bullets and energy beams swept through the crazy crowd, setting off a bloody storm. People were like wheat being cut, falling down in large numbers. Suddenly, blood flowed like a river. The fanatical people were shocked and finally didn't dare to attack the spaceship again. When the time was up, the spaceship full of people finally took off from the ground. The people on Earth looked at the gradually disappearing ground, waving their hands desperately in front of the small windows of the cabin, crying and laughing. Compared to those who didn't squeeze into the spaceship, they are happy. They are finally leaving. They're going to pursue a new life. Goodbye, Earth. Chapter 4:18. The people in the square watched the spaceship take off and leave in pain. They came here, but they couldn't squeeze into the spaceship. They had to watch others leave. This feeling is even worse than death. According to statistics, this migration took away a total of 200 million people from the Earth. Tens of millions of people died in the massacre at the hands of their compatriots, and in the stampede. Those who left thought that they were heading to a new world, but they didn't know what kind of fate awaited them. Count, we have left the Earth's orbit and are heading towards the demon moon in the constellation Taurus. Do you have any instructions? Those Earth slaves can be dealt with. Diana informed the commander, who just left. Yes, sir. We will deal with them immediately. Well, the situation on Earth is not safe. I am worried that Lin Jun will track your radio waves. After leaving, turn off all spaceship communications. Everyone, turn off all spaceship communications and maintain flight speed. After passing through the wormhole of the demon moon, turn back on communications. Understood. After turning off the communications, the commander waved his hand to his subordinates. Open the bottom hatch and let those people experience the feeling of wandering in the universe. Sir, that's a vacuum. Don't talk nonsense. This is an order. In front of the console, a soldier pushed a lever, and the bottom of the spaceship's cabin opened. More than 10 million Indians stayed in the cabin of this spaceship. 5 minutes ago, they were still yelling here, asking the soldiers of the Sky River Empire to provide them with food, water, bedding, and clothes. They asked for human rights, and some of them even asked to live in separate rooms. They even tried to bribe the soldiers. Their demands weren't met in any way, only getting beaten and even slaughtered by the soldiers. At this time, they realized that this journey was definitely not as good as they imagined. These people didn't seem to treat them as human beings at all. When the cabin of the spaceship opened, everyone was thrown out. Being thrown out in space is worse than falling from the sky, because there is no atmosphere here. Tens of millions of people struggled in space. They couldn't breathe, their mouths were wide open, trying to maintain their lives, but they couldn't do it at all. When death came ruthlessly, they realized how correct Lin Zhan's words were. But who can they blame? They didn't believe Lin Zhan's words at all. He had left Earth voluntarily, so he could only blame himself for his fate. Some warriors could use Neishi, but it was completely useless in space. They had not reached the star realm, so they could not fly in space. Their Neishi could not support them for long. In the end, they could only wait for their organs to fail. Master, someone in the dimensional universe is calling for you. The trapping net has arrived. After Lin Zhan entered the dimensional universe and learned of the other party's location, he immediately got the Black Pearl to rise into the air and contact the other party. This trapping net was worth 150 million Three River coins, and its greatest benefit was its durability. In order to capture the Constantine crystal spaceship at the speed of light, it had to be done when it was moving slowly. It was impossible to capture it at the speed of light, and it was even impossible to capture it at sublight speed. Therefore, Lin Zhan had already chosen the location of the capture. It was the wormhole entrance of the Demon Moon in the Taurus constellation. Once there, the eternal crystal spaceship would have to leave the parallel universe and slowly enter. That would be the best time to capture it. The surrounding pirates made a big fuss. The Black Pearl also had a trapping net, but compared to this alloy net, it was used for fishing. Keep it well. We might be able to use it soon. Lin Zhan was waiting for the arrival of the Anderson family's assassin. However, he felt that Diana's actions today seemed to have a deeper meaning. Why did she ask most of the Heavenly River Army to return? This was the time when the assassin would arrive, and Diana was the one who hired the assassin. What did she want to do? Apart from the Sky Castle, there was also a battle fortress left on Earth. The battle fortress was led by Yixian. Yixian had escaped the control of Lin Zhan's soul lock. Lin Zhan knew that she had taken some kind of medicine. After taking this medicine, Lin Zhan's soul lock, which was at the peak of the diamond level, was ineffective against Yixian. It could be said that Yixian was the person Diana trusted the most. She sent away most of the army, but left her confidant behind. Moreover, this was the time when the assassin was about to arrive and he was about to become the Lord. Could it be that Diana wanted to cut off all means of retreat? This woman is very likely to do something desperate. I have to be careful. Lin Zhan frowned slightly, thinking about what he should do if things got out of hand. Since his rebirth, he had finally changed the fate of the people on Earth. He could not fall short at this time. Time passed by minute, and some things on Earth were quietly changing. In the afternoon, Lin Zhan finally got what he had been waiting for. His fiefdom was granted. In the dimensional universe, the Empire's Minister of Internal Affairs announced Lin Zhan's fiefdom. With the sun as the center, the area within a radius of 1 light year had officially become Lin Zhan's territory. Within this range, all life planets, resource planets, all celestial bodies, including wormholes, etc., belong to Lin Zhan's private ownership. Of course, Lin Zhan is also responsible for developing and exploring these places. Although the entire Milky Way galaxy belongs to the Sky River Empire, the Empire doesn't have so much energy to explore such a starry sky with a diameter of more than 100,000 light years. They still have to rely on the power of various lords. This starry sky was also named. The name was originally set by Lin Zhan. It's called the Sun Territory, and he is the first lord of this territory. After the order was issued, Lin Zhan immediately made a live broadcast around the world. Fellow citizens, I now announce to you that I, Lin Jun, have officially become the Lord of the Sun territory of the Sky River Empire. My fiefdom has a diameter of 1 light-year with the sun as the center. From now on, this territory belongs to me. You may have some opinions about the future governance of this territory, but this is all in the future. Now, I want to exercise my right as a lord and issue my first order. People on the streets and alleys of the earth were all looking at Lin Jun. They held their breaths, seemingly having a premonition of what will happen. Lin Jun's rise has been witnessed by all the people on earth. It can be said that this person has never been a kind person. Now that he has become a lord, he will definitely not sit back and watch Diana and the others. Maybe the good times of the earth are really coming. They are very glad that they stayed. Sure enough, Lin Jun showed his letter of appointment in the next moment, then said to the camera, "All outsiders who have entered my territory, listen to me. I, Lin Jun, and the Lord of the Sun territory do not welcome you. Get out of my territory immediately. Get out of my territory. Every blade of grass and every tree on this planet belongs to me, Lin Jun. Every speck of dust in this starry sky belongs to me. Other than those who are willing to follow you, nothing else belongs to you. I will give you 10 minutes to leave the earth. If you dare to stay here in 10 minutes, I won't be polite." After Lin Jun's impassioned speech, the people of Huaxia cheered. Those foreign armies are finally going to leave, and the Earth, as a small planet, finally has a place in the interstellar space. With the Earl as the Lord, the future of the Sun territory will definitely not be too mediocre. After Lin Jun's speech, people also saw the speech of an extraterrestrial civilization for the first time. The Empire's Internal Affairs Minister also issued a speech in the dimensional universe, expressing support for Lin Jun and ordering the army of the Sky River Empire to leave the Earth immediately. The speech of the Internal Affairs Minister was very simple. "Countess Diana, now that the Earth has a lord, Earl Lin Jun, you must immediately lead your army and leave within the time specified by Earl Lin Jun. Otherwise, it will be regarded as an invasion of private territory. Earl Lin Jun has the right to launch an attack on you, and the Empire will intervene." The Internal Affairs Minister of the Empire also looks like a human, no different from an Earthling. He may be a little fat, but he looks very amiable. His speech also received strong support from the Earthlings. People believed that this time, Diana and her people had to completely retreat. Anyway, a wave of them left a few hours ago, and the rest should leave soon. But just when people thought the dust had settled, things took a sharp turn. Diana once again appeared on the internet and TV. Her cold face looked a little gloomy, staring at the camera, her tone gloomy. "Lin Jun, don't think that you can drive me away just because you have become a lord. I won't leave like this. All Earthlings, I have given you a chance, but you stubbornly stood with Lin Jun. You are my enemy, and since you are my enemy, you should be destroyed. Listen to me. I will also give you 10 minutes to decide whether to submit to me or resist me. After 10 minutes, if I don't get the answer I want, I will raze this planet to the ground. Let's start with Huaxia. BC." The radio waves flashed, and the Internal Affairs Minister of the Empire appeared on the screen, talking directly to Diana. "Diana, are you crazy? How dare you not obey the orders of the Empire? Could it be that you want to rebel?" Although Diana is a Shura warrior, Lin Jun is still a Red Star Shura, and he has already paid the money. The Empire should naturally support Lin Jun. As the Internal Affairs Minister, of course, he has to come forward. He thought that Diana would admit her mistake, but he didn't expect her to sneer and spit fiercely. "Bah, don't pretend in front of this old mother. Do you think you can order me around just because I'm a count of the Empire? I tell you, this old mother doesn't care." After saying that, Diana made a shocking move. She tore off the count symbol on her body, then trampled it under her feet, pointing her finger at the Internal Affairs Minister. "Get out of here. This old mother will withdraw from the Sky River Empire today. The Earth has no other choice but to be conquered or destroyed by me. If you're not convinced, send the army to attack me." The Internal Affairs Minister trembled with anger. He immediately ordered the army that followed Diana, but all of them lost contact. Whether it was the spaceship communication or the dimensional space, they were all shut down. Diana sneered, "It's over. This old mother dared to betray the Empire because she was on guard against you. Now that you have disappeared in front of my eyes, you have no qualification to order me around." After saying that, she closed the communication with the Internal Affairs Minister, then showed a grim smile to the big screen. "Lin Jun, I'm coming." Chapter 419. After watching Diana's performance, Lin Jun let out a sigh of relief. Sure enough, Diana still took this step. This woman is really decisive. She gave up the identity of the Count of the Empire and didn't hesitate to become an enemy of the Empire. Seraph next to Lin Jun said, "Master, isn't she afraid of becoming an enemy of the Sky River Empire? Although she is a Venus Azura, if the Sky River Empire is serious, she shouldn't be able to resist." Of course she can't resist, but she is very smart. She ordered all the soldiers who obey the orders of the Empire to go back, and also ordered those people to shut down the communication. Now that these soldiers can't receive the orders of the Empire, and those who stayed are her absolute confidants, she can naturally do whatever she wants. Even if the Empire wants to send new people to deal with her, the sky is high and the road is long. It will take nearly 3 years for the army to come here. By that time, who knows where she will be? Jason said to Lin Jun. "Then what should we do now? What else can we do? Counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir. Fight them to the death." Lin Jun turned back and said to the pirates who were already prepared behind him, "Brothers, haven't you been looking forward to war all day? Now the opportunity has come. Diana's Sky City is coming from North America. The soldiers of the Sky River Empire on it are all traitors. We won't bear any consequences for killing them. Do you dare do it? Great. This is the day this father has been waiting for. Master, give the order. We have long been dissatisfied with these soldiers of the Sky River Empire. Yes, they caught us at the beginning. We thought we wouldn't have a chance to retaliate, but we didn't expect the opportunity to come so soon." The pirates were shouting and yelling. All of them were extremely fanatical. In the past, they were often chased by the army of the Sky River Empire. Now that they finally have a legitimate opportunity to fight back, they can't wait any longer. "Don't be so excited. There will definitely be opportunities." Lin Jun smiled, then contacted the high-level officials of Huaxia. "Have all the people in the capital been transferred?" "The transfer has been completed, Mr. Lin Jun. According to your instructions, we have transferred all the people to the underground fortifications in the past few hours." "That's good. Don't come out until you get the notice." Lin Jun cut off the communication and closed his eyes to think. Diana had lost to him in the Azura arena, but she still dared to come. This meant that she had received help. As for who the reinforcements were, it was clear that they were from the Anderson family. Lin Jun didn't know how strong the Anderson family was, but no matter how strong they were, he didn't have a second choice. "Everyone, get ready. The enemy only has 2 large spaceships. One is the Sky City, and the other is the Battle Fortress. The Battle Fortress is still at the city of Ancient God. As long as we take down the Sky City, we will win this battle." As soon as Lin Jun finished speaking, Ronnie, who was in front of the Black Pearl's control panel, said, "Master, the Battle Fortress in the city of Ancient Gods has been activated and is quickly returning. They will probably arrive at the same time as Sky City." The pirates next to him had a solemn expression. The Black Pearl's technology was good, but it didn't have an advantage against Sky City. Plus, they had a battle fortress made for aerial combat. The battle situation was worrying. Lin Jun thought for a moment. "We still have to fight. We have to take down Sky City. Diana wants to conquer the world, and she relies on this large spaceship. If she loses Sky City, she can only play a solo game." On the radar screen, 2 dots of light were rapidly approaching from the Pacific Ocean and the Middle East. After about 10 minutes, they had arrived above the capital Bay City. "They're here. Everyone, get ready for battle." The Black Pearl's protective shield was activated, and all the firepower was ready to fire. No more waiting. "Attack! The target is Sky City." Lin Jun pointed into the distance. A black line appeared in the distant sky. It was the city flying in the sky. The Black Pearl was a spaceship that could carry tens of thousands of people, but compared to Sky City, it was really small. That spaceship could carry hundreds of millions of people. Against such a behemoth, the Black Pearl's biggest advantage was its flexibility. They activated the protective shield and rushed over at 5 times the speed of sound. At the same time, the missiles on the spaceship began to fire. Get closer. As long as we get closer, we can teleport to Sky City and sneak in to destroy it. Blazing Angel Jason shouted excitedly. Diana looked at Lin Jun's spaceship flying over and sneered. Activate the protective shield. Let's see if you have the ability to break it. A layer of yellow light appeared above Sky City. This layer of light could not only block artillery fire, but also the teleportation of martial artists. As long as the protective shield was not broken, no one could sneak into Sky City. The defensive strength of this light shield was enough to withstand the full attack of a Nebula stage expert. The missiles of the Black Pearl hit the protective shield and burst into flames. However, they couldn't break the light shield and only slightly change the color of the light shield. Master, it can't be broken. As long as the other party has energy reserves, and as long as our attack doesn't exceed the critical point of their defense, Sky City's protective shield is invincible. Lin Jun looked at Ronnie. Even the strongest firepower of the Black Pearl can't break it. It can't be broken. Of course, it will be difficult for their firepower to break our shield. However, our spaceship is small, and we don't have as many energy reserves as them. If this continues, we will still lose unless what? Lin Jun asked. Unless our spaceship burns its energy reserves and hits them at the fastest speed. That way, it can reach almost 100 times the speed of sound. The impact force is comparable to that of an asteroid, and it will be able to break Sky City's protective shield. Before Lin Jun could answer, on the radar screen behind them, the battle fortress was also rapidly approaching. The Black Pearl was in a situation where it was pincered. Master, this is bad. The battle fortress is coming. If we are pincered by them, our situation will be dangerous. As soon as Ronnie finished his reminder, Diana's voice rang through the air from Sky City. Ha ha, Lin Jun, you're already at the end of your rope. Let me send you on your way. Open fire. Seal the space above and below the Black Pearl. Don't let them hide. Sky City finally opened fire. Countless weapons spat out tongues of flame or energy beams, enveloping the Black Pearl. The battle fortress behind them also accelerated and quickly opened fire. Being pincered from the front and rear, the only way out for the Black Pearl was to charge towards Sky City. Not good. Diana is forcing us to crash into their spaceship. Once we crash into them, although we can break the energy barrier, our spaceship will also be destroyed, and we will basically all die. Speed up, crash into them. Lin Jun resolutely gave the order. The surrounding pirates were all shocked, but Lin Jun was their master. They had to obey whatever he said and did. Besides, Lin Jun's relatives were on the spaceship. Lin Jun could not choose to commit suicide. The Black Pearl began to accelerate and began to burn its energy reserves. A passage seemed to be born in the air, and the Black Pearl madly charged towards Sky City. One missile after another flew over, causing the Black Pearl's protective shield to burst into flames. What people neglected was that even as the Black Pearl sped up, the battle fortress was still chasing after it. It was actually not shaken off. Diana looked at the Black Pearl that was flying over and sneered, Lin Jun, your Black Pearl is going to be finished. I hope you can survive under such circumstances. Otherwise, my 500 million in cash will be wasted. Master, there are 5 more seconds before we crash, Ronnie said to Lin Jun. Lin Jun's expression was calm as he looked at Sky City that was getting closer and closer. They were surrounded by energy beams, but they did not bombard the Black Pearl. They were forcing them to crash into it. If they turned now, they would inevitably be hit by powerful missiles, and the result would be very tragic. Moreover, they would not achieve the goal of breaking Sky City's protective shield. Fly up in 3 seconds. Lin Jun left behind a sentence, and he was already on the spaceship. He raised his hand, and a planet appeared, and directly welcomed the incoming missiles. Rumble. The huge shockwave from the explosion hit them in the face. Lin Jun had already returned to the spaceship, and, at the same time, the Black Pearl quickly rose up. Whoosh! A ray of light flashed past, and the Black Pearl flew away from Sky City. He ran away. Diana was stunned. Lin Jun actually did not want to crash into her. Did he not know that as long as Sky City's protective shield was not broken, she, Diana, would be in an invincible position? The Black Pearl could hide, but could the whole world hide? If you run away, I will destroy this world. Diana gritted her teeth and cut him off. Miss Diana, it's not good. Look at that. Diana turned around and saw the big screen. No, there was no need to look at the big screen now. Through the glass of the control panel, she could see outside. The battle fortress was speeding over at full speed. Is that bastard Yuxian crazy? Why would he let the battle fortress crash into us? Quick, intercept him and destroy him. Diana roared at the top of her lungs. It's too late. He's about to crash into us. As the people in the spaceship shouted loudly, the battle fortress, burning its energy reserves, crashed straight into Sky City's protective shield. Rumble! Heaven and earth shook at this moment. Sky City's indestructible protective shield collapsed under the full force of the battle fortress. Chapter 420. Looking at the incredible scene below, the pirates were dumbfounded. Oh my God, what's going on? Why did the battle fortress follow us and crash into Sky City? Don't tell me that the commander of the battle fort lost his mind. There's no such coincidence. I guess it must have something to do with Master. At this moment, Lin Jun's lips curled into a smile. Why do you guys care so much? It's time for us to counterattack. That's right. Without the protective shield, our spaceship's firepower is enough to shoot this big guy down from the sky. The Black Pearl gradually slowed down and circled in the air, preparing to attack again. On Sky City, Diana's face was ashen. She had now figured it out. There was no doubt that Yuxian had been tricked again. She was once again controlled by Lin Jun's secret technique. With the cover of the Black Pearl, they followed closely behind. While Sky City's attention was on the Black Pearl, they rushed over and launched a thunderous attack. Even if someone noticed the battle fortress at first, they would instinctively think that it was chasing after the Black Pearl. They didn't expect it to be the real killer. Sure enough, what a meticulous mind, what a deep scheme. This damn Lin Jun. His spirit power must have advanced. He can even advance to the peak of diamond. This pervert. He actually used such a sinister move. Diana gritted her teeth. She couldn't wait to eat Lin Jun, but at this moment, she couldn't go head-to-head with Lin Jun. Sky City couldn't be damaged. It was the foundation of her survival. She couldn't let it be damaged by the Black Pearl. She immediately called through the control panel. Mr. Anderson, it's time for your performance. Roger that. I can't wait. Anderson agreed and cut off the screen. Then, it appeared on the screen of Lin Jun's Black Pearl. Lin Jun, stop your spaceship's attack immediately. Otherwise, I don't mind breaking your protective shield. The dispute between martial artists still depends on martial artists to solve it. When the Black Pearl saw the screen, Ronnie couldn't help but shout, "Oh my God! It's a light-speed spaceship, a Constantine crystal battleship. How could such a thing appear here? They're in space, very close to us. Master, be careful. They can shoot light beams at the speed of light. We can't dodge them. Those beams can definitely break through our battleship's protective shield. Then what are they waiting for? They don't dare to open fire easily. This kind of light speed beam requires a large amount of burning energy. The energy of a light-speed spaceship is its life, especially this kind of light-speed spaceship that isn't purely for combat. If they open fire, it won't be easy to return." Lin Jun looked at Anderson on the screen and smiled. "All right, since you said it'll be settled between martial artists, then tell me a method." "Smart. Since that's the case, let's all leave the spaceship. We'll decide the winner here. As for the location, the square in the middle of Capital City. Okay, then you can leave the spaceship. Diana's people must also leave Sky City." "No problem. To show our sincerity, we'll leave first. But don't try to play any tricks. Our spaceship has an automatic program. If you still want to use the spaceship to attack us, it will retaliate." After Anderson finished speaking, He led his subordinates out of the perpetual crystal spaceship. They crossed the atmosphere at an extremely high speed and headed toward Capital City. Diana also received the notice and led her subordinates from Sky City to leave. There were nearly 4,000 people in total. The Sky City finally landed outside the Capital City base city. Let's land too and park the Black Pearl. Lin Jun didn't want to play any tricks on this issue. He couldn't afford to lose the Black Pearl either. He was still counting on it to capture the perpetual crystal spaceship. Several spaceships landed one after another. The three parties gathered in the square of Capital City. When these people landed, their situation was once again exposed to the eyes of the world. It wasn't just the world. When the people on Earth had the chip identity, they could transmit the situation here to the outside world through the dimensional universe. Chapter 421. Looking at the group of hot-blooded martial artists around him, Lin Jun's heart was filled with emotions. In his previous life, almost none of these people were still alive. They had all died in the battle to protect their homeland. In this life, they were all still alive. This was the result of Lin Jun's hard work. He had sacrificed, calculated, and schemed in every possible way to finally reach this point. But now was the critical moment. If they won, everything would really change. If they lost, what was the difference between this life and his previous life? The difference was only a few days earlier or a few days later. However, Lin Jun had no way to ask them to go back and hide. As I said, if Lin Jun lost, how long could they hide? In the battle to protect their homeland, everyone should do their part. Moreover, these martial artists never wanted to hide under anyone's wings to survive. Okay, then let's fight side by side. This would be the final battle that would determine the fate of Huaxia. Almost all of Huaxia's elites were here. Diana looked at these people coming out with a trace of sarcasm on her face. Is it useful? You want to fight against us with just a few hundred more people? I think you're crazy. Who said there are 800 people? There are also martial artists from the European Union. In the distance, a group of people quickly broke through the air and came to Lin Jun's side. Lin Jun looked back and saw that it was Baggio and the others leading a large group of European Union martial artists over. There were about 70 or 80 people from the European Union. Like Huaxia, they were all experts who had reached the level of fleeting weak. This was because they were useless if their strength was lower. Lin Jun had never seen many of them before, but they all looked very old, including the people from Huaxia. Many of them should be hundreds of years old. There is no doubt that these people were all experts who had lived in seclusion on Earth over the years. Usually, these people would never participate in battles and only focus on cultivation. But today, they all came out. For the sake of Earth's survival, they had all stepped forward. Diana's expression changed slightly. It's just a few more people. It's nothing more than staining my sword with a little more blood. Is that so? What if we add the African Union? What about Brazil's? Another two groups of people arrived. These people had a good relationship with Huaxia. The experts of the two countries had all come out. There were more than 100 people in total. These people gathered around Lin Jun, obviously wanting to follow Lin Jun's lead. Looking at the other party's increasingly powerful team, Diana snorted coldly. You guys only have so many people, right? The other three countries don't have good relations with you guys. You're wrong. Diana, in order to deal with a demon like you, we Americans are willing to stand on Lin Jun's side. The Frost Monarch of the United States had also arrived with a group of American martial artists. They were followed by the Russians and the Hindus. The Frost Monarch of the United States pointed at Diana. You stupid woman. You actually want to conquer Earth. It's true that the people of our countries don't really like Lin Jun, but don't forget that Lin Jun is also an Earthling. Moreover, he has never thought of harming us. If we were to fall into your hands, we'd probably die a horrible death. The Russians and the Hindus nodded. Not long ago, Lin Jun had broadcasted some news through the Black Pearl. It was the scene of Diana's army abandoning all the people who had left Earth to die in outer space. The Black Pearl had recorded it with a high-magnification telescopic camera. Seeing the people from Earth die in outer space, those who still harbored fantasies about Diana completely gave up. Compared to Diana, Lin Jun was practically an angel. Moreover, Diana had already declared that she wanted to conquer the world. This had forced them into a dead end. They could only choose to fight alongside Lin Jun. Lin Jun's team had increased to about 1,500 people. In the team, there was no lack of experts at the comet stage or even the weathering stage. There were even a dozen planet stage experts whose strength was comparable to that of an Bi Huai, Chan Fenglai, and the others. These people had survived not long after the catastrophe on Earth. Among the billions of people, there were bound to be some who did not like fighting and cultivated peacefully. The combined strength of these people was enough to bring great trouble to Diana and the others. It could be said that if the Anderson family was not here, Diana would not have the courage to fight to the death with the united people of Earth. She could not help but cast her gaze at Anderson. Mr. Anderson. At this moment, Anderson waved his hand at Diana. Don't worry. As he spoke, he once again looked at Lin Jun and slowly drew a long weapon from behind him. It was a halberd. Seeing that Anderson had taken out his weapon, the 2 level, 3 stellar level, and 12 level 9 planet stage experts who followed Anderson all took out their weapons. Diana immediately took out her long sword, and more than 4,000 people behind her also pulled out their weapons. It was the same for Lin Jun's team. Although there were only a little more than 1,000 people, their momentum was not inferior at all. Amidst the clanging sounds, countless weapons were unsheathed. The battle was about to start. Anderson sneered at Lin Jun. Sun Overlord, you seem to have forgotten one thing. Between martial artists, the final outcome of a battle is not determined by the number of low-level martial artists, but the strength of high-level martial artists. On your side, only you and the angel behind you have decent combat power. The rest of the people are negligible in my eyes. Is that so? Then let me see how much you are worth. Don't forget, I'm also a Red Star Azura. Lin Jun held the Horizon Spear and faced Anderson directly. Unexpectedly, Anderson waved his finger. No. Your opponent now is not me, but Miss Diana. Diana was stunned for a moment. Mr. Anderson, what did you say? Miss Diana, can you hold on for 3 minutes? I can even give you a level 3 stellar level assistant. As long as you stall Lin Jun for 3 minutes, I will wipe out all the Earthlings here and come to your aid. He had brought 2 level 3 stellar level experts. One of them would stall Blazing Angel Jason, while the other would cooperate with Diana to stall Lin Jun. He could do whatever he wanted. Diana looked at Lin Jun with hatred in her eyes. She had lost to Lin Jun in the Azura arena and wanted to take revenge. Unfortunately, this was not the Azura arena, and there was no chance for her to start over. She did not dare to do so. However, with the help of a level 3 stellar level expert, Diana regained her courage. If this was the case, she could give it a try. Okay, Mr. Anderson, I can do it. Diana held the sword in her hand, and the level 3 stellar level expert walked over. Looking at the 2 stellar level experts who were ready to attack at any time, Lin Jun knew that things were bad. He had originally planned to fight one-on-one with Anderson. As long as he defeated Anderson, everything would be easy. However, if Diana and the other stellar level expert intercepted him, the Earthlings present would suffer. Facing a level 9 stellar level Red Star Azura, they stood no chance and would definitely be wiped out. What should I do? I can only end this quickly. I hope Anderson won't kill too many people before I kill Diana and the stellar level expert. Lin Jun could only comfort himself with such a fantasy. He held the Horizon Spear tightly in his hand and was ready to attack. Anderson sneered, raised his halberd, and pointed at the people around him. I'll kill all of you in 3 minutes. Kill, Diana shouted, and all her subordinates rushed forward. Blazing Angel Jason stepped forward, and the other level 3 stellar level expert immediately intercepted him. Diana and another level 3 stellar level expert flashed and rushed toward Lin Jun. All the experts on Earth, in addition to the 1,000 pirates under Lin Jun, let out a battle cry in unison. It reverberated through the heavens and earth as they welcomed the enemy's army. Many of them knew that they might be wiped out in this battle, but they had no choice. Retreating meant death, and there was still a glimmer of hope to survive if they advanced. At this moment, the wind and clouds in the sky suddenly changed. Thick black clouds rolled, as if a storm was coming. It was winter now, so how could there be a storm? Boom! A thunderbolt suddenly descended from the sky and blasted toward Anderson, who was ready to charge into the crowd and massacre everyone. "Who's there?" Anderson was shocked. He waved the halberd in his hand, and a flash of light shot out, blocking the thunderbolt that descended from the sky. Although his movements were fast, he was still forced back by the thunderbolt. Anderson's expression changed drastically. The person who came was ruthless and decisive. This move actually made him feel strained to block it. This person was definitely a stellar-level expert. There's actually a stellar-level expert on this small planet? How is that possible? Everyone was shocked by the sudden change. Only Lin Jun's face lit up with joy. He knew who it was. In his previous life, at the last moment of the battle with Diana's army, the Sky River Empire's army was littered with corpses, but in the end, he still managed to escape. Sure enough, in the middle of the rolling black clouds, a figure descended from the sky. The long golden sword in his hand was as fast as lightning, directly slashing toward Anderson. Gotcha! When the sword came out, it was as fast as lightning. Fourth level of the stellar level. The number one expert on Earth hundreds of years ago, the elusive Yin Xie, who has been out of sight for hundreds of years, has finally appeared. Clank! The golden sword hit Anderson's halberd, and in an instant, the two of them were fighting fiercely. After Yin Xie attacked, he shouted to the ground, "Lin Jun, what are you waiting for? Don't count on me to kill this alien. I have to count on you." Roger that. Lin Jun suddenly became spirited. Finally, there was someone who could restrain Anderson. His side finally had strong reinforcements. Now it's time for him, Lin Jun, to go on a killing spree. With a shake of the edged spear in his hand, Lin Jun crossed 3,000 meters in a single stride, going straight to Diana and the stellar-level expert. The sudden change caught everyone off guard. Diana and the stellar-level expert hurriedly waited for Lin Jun's arrival. Unexpectedly, Lin Jun suddenly teleported halfway and landed in the middle of the 12 stellar-level experts brought by Anderson. Star Domain. Metal, wind, water, fire, earth, light, thunder. 7-star explosion. Within a second, 7 stars appeared in Lin Jun's hand, and a violent explosion immediately occurred in the star domain. Chapter 422. Anderson's eyes turned red when he saw that Lin Jun had killed 12 planet rank, 9 experts. Diana, are the two of you King dead? Why are you watching Lin Jun slaughter you? Anderson really wanted to kill Lin Jun personally, but this earthling who had suddenly appeared in the sky was too ferocious. He felt that it was difficult to parry the golden blade. Even if he wanted to attack Lin Jun, it wouldn't be easy to kill the earthling in front of him. CK. This planet is really abnormal. It's not enough to have one Lin Jun. There's actually such a hidden boss. I've never received any information about him before. No matter how unwilling Anderson was, it was impossible for him to escape from Yin Xie's fierce attacks. He waved his halberd to parry and counterattack. The two of them couldn't determine the winner in a short period of time. Diana and the stellar stage expert seemed to have woken up from a dream. The two of them immediately teleported and pounced on Lin Jun. Lin Jun didn't use his spiritual attack to interrupt their teleportation. Although he could do it with his current heavenly green level spiritual power, he didn't do so. After killing the 12 planet rank, 9 experts, Diana's army didn't have much of an advantage. His subordinates and the experts from various countries on Earth could resist them. What he needed to do now was to deal with Diana and the stellar stage expert. As long as he won, he could support Yin Xie and kill Anderson. This battle would be over. Holding the Horizon spear in his hand, Lin Jun resolutely went up to meet them. Sea Treader. Invincible. Lin Jun's attack was a series of killer moves. In an instant, he and Diana were locked in a fight. Other than them and Yin Xie, the others were also in a fierce battle. Jason was facing the only stellar stage expert on the other side. Under the suppression of the Sacred Flame domain, he actually had the upper hand. There was also Chun Fenlai, a genius martial artist. At this moment, his sword domain was activated. A sword light shrouded and entangled 2 planet rank, 9 martial artists. And Bihuai and Qing Su were also fighting with 3 planet rank, 9 experts. For example, China's Gongsun Du, Luo Yun, Dongfang Jun, Jin Shichao, and Shang Jin were all experts of China. They charged back and forth between the enemy and caused a rain of blood. The experts from the other countries were also fighting to the death. No one held back in this battle. Everyone knew very well that if they couldn't defeat the enemy, they would be the ones to die. When the nest was overturned, no egg would escape unscathed. Lin Zhen's pirates were even more desperate. Facing the Heavenly River soldiers, these people acted as if they had seen their enemies. They didn't even need Lin Zhen to mobilize them. Without the threat of the Star Stage experts, these people were able to display a powerful fighting strength. Why is it so difficult for the Sky River Empire's army to catch pirates? It's because the individual quality of their soldiers isn't as good as these pirates. In a one-on-one situation, they really can't beat these pirates. The large-scale battle was like a meat grinder. People were constantly falling, and people were constantly rushing forward. Flesh and blood were the most worthless things here. These warriors, who were high and mighty in the eyes of ordinary people, became killing machines at this moment. Often, someone would stab down and kill an enemy, only to have his arm cut off by the next enemy. As long as their head doesn't fall off, they will use all the skills they have learned in their life to send out the weapons in their hands again, trying to give the enemy a fatal blow. This scene was broadcasted by some bold people. Now, not only people on Earth can see it, but those who have obtained citizenship or pauper status also have a chip. They spread this battle to the Sky River Empire's Warrior Forum through the dimensional universe. The Sky River Empire's forum is much larger than that of Earth. More and more people were paying attention to this battle, and the name of the solar system gradually entered people's eyes. Damn, the battle for this indigenous planet is fierce enough. On one side is the Empire's army, and on the other side is the Lord, the Sun territory. This is the first time I've heard of this name. It's also the first time I've heard of it. It seems to be a newcomer to the Empire. I checked the name of the Lord. His name is Lin Zhen. I know that Countess of the Empire, Diana. I just saw the arrest warrant of the Empire, saying that Diana has betrayed the Empire. Her attack on Earth is illegal. This woman actually dares to betray the Empire. I support Lin Zhen to kill the traitor. I support +1, but the power of the traitor seems to be stronger. I just determined the coordinates of the solar system. Our Indigo Bay star is actually within Lin Zhen's territory. So, is Lin Zhen also our lord? Our double moon star is also in this range. It turns out that Lin Zhen is a lord, but his realm doesn't seem to be very high. Let's wait and see. Maybe our lord will be finished off before he even meets his people. Asterisk, 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 asterisk in the VIP room of the Shiraba. Hansha said to Jerry beside him. How's the inspection? The Lin Zhen I recommended is not bad, right? Indeed, this kid is improving very fast. I feel that his mind power seems to have a breakthrough. He is only in his 20s, and he has mastered the mind power of the sky blue. It seems that we have underestimated him. This person must join the intensive training camp for those under 100 years old. That's not an easy thing to do. First of all, it's hard to say what level and to what extent he can integrate the Beast Soul gene fluid. You are right. Although we are called the Galactic Beast Alliance, there are still too few people who can really accept the Galactic Beast genes. Too many so-called geniuses can only accept some high-level mutant beast genes, and their achievements are limited in the end. Hansha laughed and said, I think you are still asking too much. The reason why the Galactic Beast is called the Galactic Beast is because their bodies are strong enough. It is already difficult for you to integrate human life with their genes. If you can just find a random person to integrate the Galactic Beast genes, there will be too many geniuses. Jerry also laughed and said, I am indeed a little eager for quick success, but you and I are in charge of the Sanjiang Federation. Of course, we have to select more geniuses for the organization. I hope this Lin Zhen will not let me down. Yes, martial artists pursue powerful combat skills, elemental energy, and star power, but they often neglect these. In the end, they still have to rely on their bodies to control. Only a strong body can really burst out powerful combat power. This is also the philosophy of the Fire Kirin Empire when it was first established. It has been a little distorted over the years. Let's watch this battle. If Lin Jun successfully defeats Anderson and Diana, then no matter what, I want Lin Jun to join our Galactic Beast Alliance. Clang, 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 clang. The edged spear in Golden Pheasant's hand nodded in a flurry. A string of spear auras flickered, forcing Diana to be somewhat flustered. And this was when Lin Jun was fighting 1 against 2. At this moment, Diana realized that if she didn't use gravity space, she really wouldn't be able to defeat Lin Jun in close combat. Save me, Diana roared, and the level 3 stellar level expert hurriedly rushed over to support Diana. Lin Jun didn't even turn his head. Instead, he turned around and attacked. This spear used unstoppable and time acceleration. Caught off guard, Lin Jun's spear pierced through the lower abdomen. Lin Jun quickly pulled out his spear and blocked Diana's 2 swords. He used the plum blossom pile footwork and used the indestructible martial technique in conjunction with the sea dance. After 2 consecutive exchanges, he immediately gained the upper hand and suppressed Diana in close combat. Diana was so angry that she roared, "You idiot, you don't dare to fight after being shot? If I get killed by Lin Jun, because of you, you won't be able to live. I'm afraid your master won't be able to live either." The injured stellar-level expert immediately showed a determined look and pounced on Lin Jun again. Galaxy Field. With a thought, Lin Jun activated the field again. The edge spear dashed left and right, making it impossible for the 2 to get close. At the same time, planets began to appear. Seeing Lin Jun use this move again, Diana couldn't help but feel like her soul was about to leave her body. "I'll fight you to the death." She pounced on Lin Jun like a madwoman. Starlight flickered all over her body. It was actually a sign of self-destruction. Lin Jun narrowed his eyes slightly. He stepped aside and opened a path, seemingly wanting Diana to leave. Diana didn't want to fight Lin Jun to the death. She was just putting on an act. Seeing that the starburst was about to appear, she was already thinking about how to escape. Seeing that Lin Jun had fallen for her trick, she was overjoyed. She ignored Lin Jun, who was still fighting with Lin Jun, and resolutely rushed out of Lin Jun's space. Lin Jun didn't seem to see that she was trying to escape. The spear in his hand accelerated time again. Puff! A flash of lightning flashed past. Lin Jun's spear pierced through the throat of this stellar-level expert and killed him on the spot. After killing this opponent, Lin Jun saw that Diana had already rushed to the edge of his galaxy field. With a thought, 7 planets chased after Diana at the same time. At the same time, Space Cut appeared. A dark space crack appeared in front of Diana, blocking her way forward. Diana sneered, "Lin Jun, I've already prepared for this move of yours. Don't even think about stopping me from leaving today. As long as I leave this field, you'll never be able to catch me." With a light twist of her body, Diana cleverly dodged the space crack. She was like a slippery loach that was about to rush out. "You stay here." Diana thought that she had succeeded. Suddenly, her vision blurred, and a large amount of spear light poured over like a rainstorm. "Lin Jun!" Diana let out a heart-wrenching roar because she had found a second Lin Jun. "Pa pa pa pa." The only answer she got was a series of trembling spears. The cold light was like the stars in the night sky, rushing toward her face. She used all her strength to resist, but Lin Jun behind her attacked again. The 2 Lin Jun joined forces. Their spears were like dragons, entangling Diana tightly. Just as she dodged the spear that was aimed at her head, she was shot in the shoulder. Her shoulder was not seriously injured, but she was shot in the thigh. She endured the pain and wanted to fight back. Her arm was shot again, and the sword in her hand fell to the ground. Diana could not help but want to self-destruct. She wanted to commit suicide. She wanted to perish together with the 2 Lin Jun. However, before she could gather her star power, the yin-yang spear had already pierced through her lower abdomen. She held the spear in her lower abdomen with both hands and wanted to pull it out. Another spear was aimed at her head. These two spears were like two flashes of lightning. She was a level 5 stellar level golden star Azura, but she did not even have the chance to commit suicide. This spear is for you invading Earth. This spear is for you killing innocent people. This spear is for you committing treason. This spear is for you making things difficult for me in the Azura field. This spear is for you capturing my family. Diana had turned into a bloody gourd. Her lips were trembling as she muttered, "Your family. It was Yuxian who wanted to capture them. That was also under your orders, Diana." "Blood for blood, blood for blood," Lin Jun said. Diana did not understand at all. She did not remember having a past life. However, Lin Jun did not need to explain too much to her. His main body and avatar suddenly exerted force at the same time. Strong elemental energy exploded from the two spears. "Diana, it's over. Turn into the dust of the universe." A bolt of lightning struck her body until it was stiff. A rock smashed her into a bloody mess. A ball of cold air turned her into an ice sculpture. A ball of golden air cut her in half. A ball of flame turned her into ashes, and a gust of wind blew past, leaving no trace behind. Chapter 423. After personally killing Diana, Lin Jun felt his mind clear up. It was as if something that had been blocking his 7 orifices had suddenly disappeared. Perhaps it was an obsession from his previous life. In his previous life, Earth had been destroyed by Diana. Lin Jun had always been fighting to save the people of Earth since his rebirth. Now that he had personally killed the main culprit, the pent-up energy that had been suppressed in his soul was instantly released. Naturally, he felt incomparably comfortable. Lin Jun's main body was originally at the 6th-star core realm. Now, he was actually about to break through again. This powerful energy was surging violently. Although it was not as powerful as the energy that Lin Jun had accumulated when he broke through to the star realm, it was definitely not small. Lin Jun did not dare to be careless. His main body teleported directly to the cloud layer and continuously teleported to the outside of the atmosphere. Now, the one left in the arena was his clone. Just now, Lin Jun had killed Diana within the Star River domain. From the outside, one could only see the dark night sky. No one saw that Lin Jun's main body and clone had fought together. After his main body left, Lin Jun's star core domain was removed and his body was revealed. Diana is dead. Anderson, who had been observing Lin Jun's battle situation, felt his heart tighten. He knew that Diana was not a match for Lin Jun. Otherwise, she would not have asked him to come. However, knowing was one thing, and seeing it with his own eyes was another. He did not expect that 2-star realm experts would not be a match for a single Wei Zhou. This was hard for him to accept. The moment Lin Jun was released, he immediately flew towards Anderson and Yin Chie's battle circle. However, on the way, he continuously released 2 lightning strikes, killing another 2-star realm experts and releasing Chinfenglai. Anderson saw this scene, and his eyes turned red. He could no longer hold it in. Because Diana was dead, he still had not received half of the 503 million River Coins missions commission. More importantly, if he did not pay Diana this sum of money, his mission this time would be displayed as incomplete. This made Anderson extremely angry. "Lin Jun, you and all of you Earthlings will die." Anderson's voice started to become hoarse. It was unknown whether it was due to anger. Yin Chie, who was fighting against Anderson, sneered, "Don't even think about it. Lin Jun is coming. Let's work together and make you stay here today." Before he finished speaking, Lin Jun also joined the battle. "Anderson, I don't care if you're doing this for money or anything else. Since you dared to come to Earth and cause trouble, then, as the Overlord, I have to defend my rights." The edged spear in his hand shot out like a meteor. Lin Jun used all of his skills. After entering the Azura arena, other than Diana, Lin Jun's defeats had all come from the Red Star Azura. He had never won against a Red Star Azura before, and this Anderson in front of him was a Red Star Azura. He wanted to defeat him in reality. The golden saber in Yin Chie's hand slashed down again and again. Even though this was the first time he and Lin Jun were working together, their teamwork was incomparable. This was the tacit understanding between experts. There was no need to say anything, and they could always make the best choice. The saber was like lightning, and the spear was like a dragon. The halberd in Anderson's hand was also swinging like a whirlwind. However, facing the combined attacks of Lin Jun and Yin Shiyi, the two top experts on Earth, he was actually at a disadvantage. Pooh! A saber slashed across Anderson's chest, and a wound opened up. It looked like the injury wasn't light. The halberd in Anderson's hand smashed down fiercely, but Lin Jun blocked with his spear. He was as immovable as a mountain. The long spear and halberd collided. Lin Jun's body swayed a little, but he wasn't pushed back. Yin Shiyi took advantage of this opportunity to sneak attack 3 more times, leaving 3 wounds on Anderson's abdomen. This guy's body is so tough. I actually couldn't cut him in half. Yin Shiyi laughed happily. In his opinion, this battle was already over. Pa pa pa. Lin Jun took advantage of this opportunity to strike with his spear. Time acceleration made his spear move sometimes fast and sometimes slow. He actually forced Anderson to lose his grip on the halberd in his hand. Yin Shiyi's golden saber came to support, forcing Anderson to lean back. Clang! The all-conquering strength was displayed to the limit, and the halberd was lifted into the air by Lin Jun. Anderson cried out loudly and wanted to grab the halberd back. Lin Jun raised his hand, and a gravitational force enveloped the halberd. The middle-grade divine weapon was directly stored into his spatial ring. Anderson, thanks. You're already a toothless tiger. Accept your fate. Lin Jun and Yin Shiyi stood on the left and right, their sabers and spears raised. The combined strength of 2 top experts was indeed terrifying. Anderson couldn't hold on much longer. Anderson looked left and right. If today's situation continued, not only would he not be able to complete the mission, he might even lose his life on Earth. After losing his halberd, Anderson didn't show any signs of panic. Instead, he spoke with a gloomy tone. Lin Jun, you guys have hidden your strength well. I didn't expect this aboriginal planet to have 2 top experts. Both of them have the strength of a red star Azura. I, Anderson, have miscalculated. However, don't be too complacent. Do you think you can defeat me like this? What a joke. Yin Shiyi snorted coldly. What's the use of just boasting? Perhaps Lin Jun and I aren't your match in a one-on-one fight. However, with our combined strength, you have no chance. Anderson fiercely raised his head and took a deep breath. The air condensed into a beam and was violently sucked into his nostrils. The surrounding people felt their breathing tighten. The air within a few hundred meters was almost sucked out by him. A frog at the bottom of a well, ignorant of the world. Anderson slowly closed his eyes. Acting all mysterious. I'll finish you off today. Yin Shi didn't care about this. He leaped forward and was about to attack. Senior Yin, be careful. Lin Jun felt that something was wrong and shouted from behind. However, it was too late. A terrifying aura arose from Anderson's body. He let out a series of angry roars and ferociously threw a punch at the charging Yin Chi. Boom! Yin Chi couldn't dodge. He blocked with his blade and was sent flying. While in air, one could see that he spat out a large mouthful of blood. He directly crashed into a building a few kilometers away. Anderson's roar became a beast-like roar. The clothes on his body were also torn at this moment. The fiery red robe was originally incomparably wide. However, at this moment his body suddenly expanded. The blood vessels on his muscles bulged like pythons. His bones also became thicker and bigger. The robe could no longer cover his body. It became pieces of rags hanging on his body. His bones grew with a crackling sound. His face became incomparably terrifying. His mouth also became longer and longer. Sharp fangs grew on it. The fiery red tongue flicked out 3 to 4 meters away. His hands turned into incomparably sharp claws. Moreover, an incomparably thick tail appeared behind him. Roar! The roar swept across the ground like a shock wave. Within a range of 500 meters in front of him, regardless of whether it was his side or Lin Jun's people, they were all hit by the sound wave. Their hands covered their heads as blood flowed out of their 7 orifices and fell to the ground. God, what kind of monster is this? Someone raised his head and looked at Anderson, who had grown to 7 to 8 meters tall with a green face and fangs. They didn't know what this thing was. Only Lin Jun's eyebrows moved slightly. This is the person who injected the mutated beast gene fluid? This is the aura of a galactic beast. Asterisk, 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 asterisk in the dimensional universe. Many people who were watching this scene were stunned. Many people in the Galactic Beast Alliance knew about the injection of mutated beast gene fluid. Whether it was the mutated beast gene fluid or the galactic beast gene fluid, the safety and reliability of the injection was very high. This was because when the injector was selected, many tests would be conducted to determine whether this person was suitable for the gene injection. Even if there were failures, they would immediately stop after finding that the injection wasn't suitable. There wouldn't be any serious consequences. Anderson, on the other hand, seemed to be a completely failed product. In the dimensional universe, Hansha and Jerry were dumbfounded as they watched Anderson's mutation. This galactic beast gene fluid injection failed. It's really the galactic beast gene fluid. God, how could there be someone in the Sanjiang Federation who injected the galactic beast gene fluid without us knowing? I don't know either. But this Anderson doesn't seem to be a complete failure. He should be beastified. Yes, that's right. He is beastified. There are even galactic beasts that have successfully beastified. This person is no longer human. He is half a galactic beast. The so-called beastification of a galactic beast was actually a type of failure. Regardless of whether it was the galactic beast gene fluid or the mutated beast gene fluid, the ultimate goal was to strengthen the body. There were no side effects. Although the beastification achieved the goal of strengthening the body, the human would lose their rationality along with the transformation. In the end, they would turn into a monster. However, without the super strength of a galactic beast, they would be destroyed in the end. Although the beastification couldn't be compared to a galactic beast, compared to a human's body, it was much stronger. After Anderson's transformation, his strength had surpassed the limit of the stellar stage. He was comparable to a black hole stage elite. In terms of physical fitness, even a black hole stage martial artist couldn't compare to Anderson. It's over. I didn't expect him to be a beast shifter. Although this kind of person's achievements are limited, I'm afraid no one on Earth can match him now. Not even Lin Jun. Damn it. If we had known, we would have gone to Earth earlier. With Lin Jun dead, we have lost a seedling. If we take a light-speed spaceship and rush over, will we make it in time? We won't make it in time. It'll take us at least a few hours to get there. During this time, Anderson will turn Earth into a wasteland. Chapter 424. Hansha and the others were right. After transforming, Anderson's strength had increased sharply. He was now comparable to a black hole stage martial artist. After sending Yin Chief flying with a punch, Anderson roared and wanted to kill anyone who approached him. Get out of my way. Go find your opponents. Leave this to me. At this moment, Lin Jun could no longer count on anyone. He had to stop Anderson. He had to kill him. If he didn't die, Earth would be destroyed. He raised the edged spear in his hand and fiercely stabbed at one of Anderson's eyes. Whoosh! A huge palm came with the sound of air exploding. Its speed was actually faster than Lin Jun's attack. Lin Jun could only block with his spear. Bang! After being hit by Anderson's giant spirit palm, Lin Jun immediately followed in Yin Chie's footsteps. His body was like a cannonball, shooting into the distance with a boom. Fortunately, Lin Jun still had the lightning wings. When he lost control of his body, the lightning wings were still flapping nonstop, reducing the huge impact. When he flew 1,000 meters away, his body stopped. He twirled the edged spear in the air and threw an energy ball at it. Lightning kill. Now that Lin Jun had grasped the atomic power of light and electricity, its power was many times stronger than before. The dazzling power of light and electricity rotated on the tip of his spear. Lin Jun raised his spear at Anderson from 1,000 meters away. Teleport. In the next second, Lin Jun suddenly appeared behind Anderson. Hit him! Lin Jun roared. Lightning kill bloomed from the tip of his spear and fiercely stabbed at Anderson's back. Indestructible. Pooh! Blood spurted out. Lin Jun's edge spear stabbed into Anderson's body. However, it was less than half a foot in. The light and electricity crazily rotated around Anderson's wound, destroying it. It used all its strength to destroy Anderson's muscle tissue. The violent lightning kill caused the muscles on Anderson's back to blacken and burn. However, that was all it could do. Those muscles had powerful recovery abilities. Lightning kill couldn't cause any fatal damage. Roar. Lin Jun died. Anderson was also in pain. He turned around abruptly and waved his huge claws at lightning speed. Clang clang. After hitting Lin Jun's edge spear twice in a row, this huge force that came from the sky was like a nail that directly slammed Lin Jun's feet into the ground. Another 2 crazy blasts came over. Lin Jun couldn't even be seen anymore as he was slammed into the ground. Lin Jun! Everyone who cared about Lin Jun shouted at this moment. At this moment, Anderson's long tongue was like a continuous firing machine gun. It began to attack the ground in a frenzy. It was like a spear stabbing down with lightning speed. Puff, 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 puff. Dust flew up from the ground, and the speed was so fast that people couldn't see clearly. Whoosh! Anderson retracted his tongue. There was blood on it. He licked his lips proudly and said, Lin Jun, come and be my dinner. Whoosh! His huge palm dug into the ground, and a huge clump of soil was dug out. The soil that he scooped up in his palm suddenly exploded. Streams of soil transformed into sharp spikes and fiercely pierced towards Anderson's face. Anderson instinctively closed his eyes, and all the soil spikes landed on his face. However, all of them were broken without exception. In the center of the soil, Lin Jun had a wound on his shoulder. It was caused by Anderson's tongue, but he ignored it. His body exploded, and the 7-star saber turned into a ray of light that shot towards Anderson's 7 orifices. Roar, roar. A sound wave came from Anderson's throat, and the 7-star saber actually lost its momentum after being attacked by the sound wave. Lin Jun couldn't be bothered with the 7-star saber at this moment. He suddenly appeared above Anderson's head and grabbed the spear with both hands. Using all the strength in his body and his stellar energy to the limit, he viciously stabbed towards Anderson's head. Yahoo! His grade 6 stellar energy was pushed to the limit, and the elements on the edge spear started to wreak havoc. Under the support of the edge spear, the spear really pierced into Anderson's head. However, the process was extremely slow. Lin Jun bit his lips so hard that blood flowed out. Inch by inch, the edge spear went deeper into Anderson's head. As long as he could pierce through Anderson's head, he would be able to let the elemental energy mince his brain. Anderson roared angrily as he swung his gigantic palm towards Lin Jun, intending to send him flying. Lin Jun's body suddenly teleported again. This time, he only teleported 5 meters into the air, barely dodging Anderson's palm. The next moment, he plummeted rapidly, and once again stepped on the end of the spear. Pooh! The spear descended another foot, and it was about to pierce Anderson's brain. Anderson roared again and waved his palm wildly, forcing Lin Jun away again. Lin Jun wanted to use the same trick and teleport back. As long as he stepped on Anderson's head again, he would succeed. However, Anderson raised his head abruptly and opened his mouth wide, almost biting Lin Jun. Lin Jun dodged in the nick of time. Anderson had already pulled out the edge spear from his head and used it as a dagger, fiercely pouncing on Lin Jun. Anderson was not used to Lin Jun's flexible fighting style earlier, so he was at a disadvantage. However, now that he had entered a berserk state, each of his attacks contained great power. Lin Jun could not take it head-on and could only escape quickly. He did not dare to run into the crowd. Instead, he exerted force on his feet and rose into the air. Anderson's huge body quickly chased after him. Lin Jun realized that even with the acceleration of his lightning wings, Anderson was getting closer and closer to him. No, the space in the sky is vast. There is no advantage to speak of. Anderson has the galactic beast gene, so flying is his instinct. I can't stay here. I have to go down. Lin Jun lowered his head and quickly turned to avoid Anderson's claws that were about to reach his body, then plunged into the ground. The two people, one chasing and one escaping, quickly disappeared from everyone's sight. The battle on the square did not stop because of the battle between Lin Jun and Anderson. After several fixed-point attacks by Lin Jun, there were not many masters left on the other side. Moreover, after a short rest, he once again appeared on the battlefield with injuries. With his participation, these invaders finally couldn't resist anymore. Lin Jun's subordinates joined forces with the Earth's warriors and began a wave of counterattacks. Lin Jun said that there was no need to show mercy to these people, and they didn't need to capture them, just kill them all. From advantage to disadvantage, from disadvantage to collapse, the Sky River Empire finally defeated Diana's army. The morale of the army was extremely low after Diana's death, and they were counting on Anderson to save them. But now, Anderson is chasing Lin Jun and has disappeared. Even if he can kill Lin Jun, these soldiers won't be able to see it. The fierce battle lasted for half an hour. When Chun Fenglie's sword domain killed the last enemy, the battlefield finally calmed down. However, no one was in the mood to celebrate, because everyone knew that the battle is not over yet. Only by killing Anderson would this Earth defense war truly come to an end. If Anderson was still alive, they would be finished. Quick, go to the Sky City and use the global scan there to lock onto Anderson and Lin Jun. We need to know their battle situation. Chun Fenglai shouted, and everyone rushed towards Sky City like a swarm of bees. With this group of pirates familiar with the performance of spaceships, operating the spaceship was a piece of cake. Soon, they locked onto the two most active life forms on Earth. One big and one small, namely Lin Jun and Anderson. Use the Sky Eye system to connect to the global satellite recording. It's connected, the image is showing. It's here. I saw it. They are now on the Antarctic ice field. In a blurry image, the two of them were flying at high speed between the icebergs amidst the snowstorm in the South Pole. It was as if the two fastest fighter jets were performing stunts. Lin Jun was trying her best to shake off Anderson's pursuit through the gaps between the icebergs. Anderson, on the other hand, was charging forward recklessly. His huge body was not as agile as Lin Jun, but his powerful strength could flatten everything. It was just that his speed was slightly affected, so it was not easy for him to catch up with Lin Jun. They left the Antarctic and entered the Indian Ocean. Although they were at the bottom of the sea, the two huge waves on the sea showed how fast the two people were. It's like two aircraft carriers at the bottom of the sea, with the effect of supersonic submarines. After charging at the bottom of the sea for about 10 minutes, the two people reached the north coast of the Indian Ocean and landed on the Indian Peninsula. The satellite showed that the two people flew all the way through South Asia and arrived at the Tibetan Plateau. In the huge mountains of the Himalayas, Lin Jun was still trying his best to dodge, but everyone could see that the two people were getting closer and closer. It was like light skimming through the mountain range. Anderson crushed all the dangerous peaks in the Himalayas, including the highest peak, Mount Everest. Oh no, if this continues, Lin Jun won't be able to escape. Yan Xie stood in front of the big screen. His expression was very serious. Why does Lin Jun keep running? Isn't he going to fight with this monster sooner or later? Chen Fenglai asked curiously. I don't know, but I can feel that the time of the final battle is getting closer and closer. Where will Lin Jun choose to fight? And Bihuai asked. Anyway, it won't be here. Lin Jun is such a good person. He wouldn't want us here to take any risks. I guess he will lead the monster to space in the end, Qing Su guessed. Qing Su's guess was agreed by many people, but they didn't want Lin Jun to face this monster alone. At this time, a clear female voice was heard. The one who spoke was Su Minghua. There's no need to guess. Lin Jun will come here for the final battle. Miss Su, why do you say that? Yan Xie turned around and asked. Chapter 425. Su Minghua's guess was right. After leading Anderson around the world, Lin Jun finally flew back to Beijing Base City in Huaxia. When Lin Jun landed on the square where the smoke had yet to disperse, Anderson also landed slowly. After chasing Lin Jun around the planet, He could tell that Lin Jun did not plan to run this time. Taking large strides, Anderson took a few steps forward. Then, he lowered his head and looked at Lin Jun with a sinister smile. Hee hee. Lin Jun, why aren't you running anymore? Because there's no need to run anymore. I think you can't run anymore. You should have done this long ago. I've consumed the galactic beast gene fluid, so flying is my forte. It's useless even if you run into space. Anderson, I want to ask you a question. Do you have any last words? If you want to plead for your people, then forget it. Today, everyone on this planet will be my dinner. As Anderson spoke, his teeth moved back and forth a few times, revealing a sinister smile. What I want to ask is, your family seems to be quite rich. You actually have 2 lightspeed spaceships. Aren't you afraid that others will target you? Anderson immediately became alert. He could feel that someone was filming them. He immediately clarified, Lin Jun, don't talk nonsense. Our family only has 1 lightspeed spaceship. Do you think lightspeed spaceships are cabbages? You can have as many as you want. Oh, Lin Jun replied. All right, I'm done with my questions. Then prepare to die. But don't worry, I'll send the rest of the people on this planet to accompany you soon. Anderson clenched and unclenched his claws. A cold light shot out, and he was ready to attack. However, he did not manage to swing his claws because he saw that Lin Jun's realm had begun to soar. This small fry that was only a level 6 satellite warrior had advanced from level 6 to level 7 satellite warrior. What? You broke through in the middle of the battle? How'd you do it? Lin Jun didn't answer him. His aura continued to rise, and soon, he rose from level 7 to level 8. It can actually rise 2 levels in a row. This is impossible. Anderson's eyes widened in disbelief. But it wasn't over yet. Lin Jun's power was still rising. Astral power flowed around his body, and a layer of starlight enveloped his body, making his aura even more powerful. The satellite had reached level 9. This time, it wasn't only Anderson who cried out in surprise. Everyone on the Black Pearl cried out in surprise. He had seen people make breakthroughs, and he had also seen people make breakthroughs on the spot. However, he had never seen anyone who could rise 3 levels in a row on the battlefield. However, Lin Jun had managed to do it. Moreover, he had directly risen to the peak of satellite grade 9. He had only stopped when he was about to enter the planet stage. After rising 3 levels in a row, Lin Jun's aura had already reached a peak. Anderson, you used the Geno fluid to forcibly increase your power. Now that I've also leveled up, let's do it again. Anderson's blood-red eyes flashed fiercely. Lin Jun, don't think that you can be arrogant just because you've risen from level 6 to level 9. A mere 3 levels is nothing to me. It can't change your fate at all. Anderson was still holding Lin Jun's edge spear. Lin Jun glanced at it and suddenly raised his hand. A planet formed above Anderson's head. After entering satellite grade 9, Lin Jun's astral power had become even stronger. Without using his domain, a planet was formed in less than 0.2 seconds. Boom! The planet exploded above Anderson's head. Anderson was already prepared. His body suddenly shrank back, revealing his scaly back. He dodged most of the explosion shockwave. The rest of the shockwave hit his scales, but it didn't cause much damage. Lin Jun, you'd better not fight to the death. While he was distracted, Lin Jun raised his hand. A gravitational force enveloped him and directly took back the edge spear. You're courting death. Anderson pounced, and a spatial crack appeared again. Lin Jun's huge body made it difficult for him to dodge. He had been hiding this move for a long time. Space cutting directly cut off one of Anderson's arms, leaving only a small piece of flesh connected to it. Anderson screamed in pain. He grabbed his arm and tried to reconnect it. Flesh and blood quickly regenerated. The powerful regenerative ability of a galactic beast was displayed. This Anderson, his galactic beast genes are similar to a lizard's. It has a very strong regenerative ability. It won't be easy for me to kill him. Lin Jun thought to himself. However, his hands didn't stop moving. He teleported in front of Anderson. Anderson, let's see who's stronger. His aura had reached its peak. At this moment, it exploded. Under the cover of the surging astral power, Lin Jun's edge spear was displayed to the limit. Under the buff of unstoppable ocean steps, wave after wave of powerful attacks suppressed the injured Anderson. No way. Is there still hope for a reversal? This Sun Overlord is amazing. He rose 3 levels in a row on the battlefield. Was he suppressing his strength before? With Wei Zhou's peak strength, he suppressed an expert close to the black hole stage. Is this the so-called genius? I hope Lin Jun can win. If he wins and comes to our Indigo Bay star in the future, I will definitely marry him. The people in the dimensional universe watched this battle closely. They were all paying close attention to the final outcome of the battle. From the looks of it, Lin Jun seemed to have the upper hand. Only Han Sha and Jerry didn't think that Lin Jun could win. Lin Jun has the upper hand now. However, the galactic beast body is too strong. Lin Jun's advantage can't be turned into a victory. That's right. He can't deal a fatal blow to Anderson. As long as Anderson can catch his breath, he will be in danger. I think so too. However, Han Sha, did you notice? Why do I feel that Lin Jun's physical fitness is also quite strong? He also took a few hits from Anderson. However, he didn't show any signs of injury. The wound on his shoulder that was pierced by Anderson's tongue has also healed. Han Sha looked carefully for a while. Indeed, could it be? This isn't Lin Jun's main body? The two looked at each other and felt their eyes light up. The more Lin Jun fought, the more frightened he became. He could indeed suppress Anderson for a while with the help of the power brought by 3 levels in a row. However, this was definitely not a long-term solution. Anderson's absolute power was at the black hole stage. The gap between them was too big. His all-conquering could not even cause a fatal blow to Anderson. After all, Anderson was a human, not a puppet that knew how to avoid fatal blows. The scales on his body were comparable to metal. They were invulnerable. The small wounds that Lin Jun inflicted on him were almost negligible. His arm was about to be reattached. When that time came, Lin Jun's trouble would come. In the midst of the battle, he turned around to take a look, and his gaze fell on Sky City. He felt that there were people there. Everyone was in Sky City. That was the hope of Earth. If he died, these people would definitely die. You must live. Otherwise, everything I have done before will be meaningless. Lin Jun turned back. There was a touch of determination in his eyes. Not good. The final moment is coming. Su Mingyue's beautiful eyes suddenly widened. She stared at Lin Jun. Lin Jun's parents, Anna Ning, also looked at the battlefield nervously. Yan Chiye, Chun Fenglai, and the other Huasha martial artists began to sweat. Lin Jun's pirates were also nervous. They were Lin Jun's slaves. If Lin Jun died, they would die immediately. The martial artists around the world could not help but start praying. At this moment, they knew how important Lin Jun was to Earth. Waha! My arm is fine, Lin Jun. It's all over. Anderson waved his hands. His arm had recovered. At this time, Lin Jun, who should have retreated to avoid the attack, did not. Instead, he quickly rushed forward. Anderson waved his claws to attack Lin Jun. Teleport. Lin Jun suddenly teleported and appeared behind Anderson. Anderson's back was covered with scales. There were no vital points that could be attacked. Therefore, Anderson did not even turn his head. He swung his huge tail and whipped it towards Lin Jun's body. Lin Jun opened his hands and placed the edged spear in front of Anderson's neck. The star power in his body exploded. He exerted strength in his arms. Creak, creak. The spear was stuck in Anderson's neck, making it impossible for him to break free. Lin Jun, you're courting death. Do you think you can strangle me like this? My tail is enough to whip you into meat paste. The tail slammed heavily on Lin Jun's back, making a dull sound. Lin Jun's mouth immediately bled. However, he did not make a sound. The baleful light on his body flew out. This weapon had also been upgraded to the category of divine equipment. With a flash of light, the fiendish light turned into a long rope, binding Anderson and Lin Jun together. Rise! Lin Jun's star power erupted. He lifted Anderson's huge body into the air and went straight towards the dark clouds in the sky. Lin Jun, what are you doing? Do you want to take me to space? How long do you think this ridiculous rope can bind me? Anderson's tail kept whipping Lin Jun's back. At the same time, he tried to break free from the baleful light. Anderson, do you know what galaxy the Sky River Empire is? Lin Jun asked a question that didn't seem to make sense. Nonsense, the Milky Way. Well, I'll take you to see the beautiful and magnificent Milky Way today. Bullshit. I'm going to eat you alive soon. Lin Jun ignored Anderson's struggle and rushed straight into the sky. Under the nervous gaze of everyone, he disappeared into the clouds. In the next second, Anderson saw a shocking scene. He saw the Milky Way domain. Lin Jun took Anderson and plunged into the Milky Way domain. There were planets everywhere. Inside the Milky Way domain, a river of stars stretched across the sky. This is a domain. Those stars are going to explode. You're crazy. You're tied to me. Do you want to use your life to perish together with mine? Huh. Don't think so highly of yourself. Isn't your galactic beast body very strong? Then try the feast I've prepared for you. I'll let you experience the magnificence of the Milky Way domain. Chapter 426. Many years later, when a younger generation asked the older generation how the Sun Overlord Lin Jun had killed Anderson, who had transformed into a beast in the battle to protect Earth, the people of Earth would basically answer with one sentence. That was the grandest fireworks. People raised their heads to look at the sky. Above the black clouds, small planets exploded in the sky, pushing the clouds away. It was as if the sky had opened up. The colorful energy elements were the most beautiful fireworks. Lin Jun's clone was tightly bound to Anderson. He ignored the huge tail behind him and used the edged spear to strangle Anderson's neck, making it impossible for him to escape. Anderson's body, which was covered in scales, started to be damaged by the energy currents. His body became char black, and then blood seeped out. His scales shattered, revealing his flesh and bones. His internal organs were damaged. Anderson howled miserably in the huge explosion, and his aura became weaker and weaker. He couldn't understand when Lin Jun had set up such a trap here. He had seen this kind of starburst before. Lin Jun had used this kind of starburst to kill 12 planet realm experts. However, the number of planets condensed here was close to 1,000. This was obviously not something that could be done in a short period of time. Moreover, Lin Jun had broken through on the spot and advanced by 3 levels. When did he condense planets here? When the planets exploded, they emitted a dazzling light. The powerful energy shock wave made the two of them tumble in the air like tattered pieces of cloth. Black blood seeped out from all parts of Anderson's body and flowed out from his mouth. He knew that he was going to die. He was going to die in this unknown solar system, on this small Earth, at the hands of Lin Jun, whom he didn't even take seriously. At this time, all his ambitions and thoughts were gone. The only thing that could give him some comfort was that he had dragged Lin Jun down with him. Cough, cough, cough. Lin Jun, you're already dead, right? I've completed my mission. He thought that Lin Jun behind him had been killed by the explosion of the planets, but he didn't expect Lin Jun to actually answer him. You haven't died yet, so how can I die? Anderson's pupils dilated instantly. He could not understand how Lin Jun could still be alive if his body, which had been enhanced by the galactic beast gene fluid, could not withstand it. Was he made of iron? Even if he was made of iron, he should have been reduced to ashes by now. But he no longer had the strength to look back. A string of planets flew over and exploded. Behind the blinding light and fire, he seemed to vaguely see Lin Jun sitting cross-legged in a corner of the starry sky. That was the birthplace of the planet, and the star explosion was caused by him. Two Lin Jun. So they're doppelgangers. What a strong doppelganger, ugh. Rumble. The strong light completely engulfed his body. His already damaged body finally couldn't withstand this round of starburst and was completely torn into pieces by the violent explosion. Behind him, Lin Jun also had many injuries on his body, and his injuries were not light. But he did not shatter like Anderson. On his head, there was a white crown. Rays of holy light shrouded his body, and his body was constantly healing. Phew, it's done. Is your body very strong? My body was refined from Xianwan's body. My body's strength is not inferior to yours. Moreover, I have the Starry Sky Crown. Its powerful healing ability is not something you can compare to. Lin Jun waved his hand, and a fierce flame swept through the galaxy domain, completely turning Anderson's body into ashes, leaving him no chance of resurrection. After doing all this, Lin Jun finally let out a long breath. Finally, it's over. Looking up at the sky, Lin Jun felt that the sky was so beautiful for the first time. Everything that he had done since his rebirth had finally paid off at this moment. His body loomed in the sky and then disappeared again. Under the cover of the dark clouds and the galaxy domain, no one could see his body. With a wave of the edge spear in his hand, wind elemental energy swept through, and the dark clouds in the sky were blown away by a gust of wind. Lin Jun gently flapped the thunderlight wings behind him. Feeling everything beautiful around him, Lin Jun slowly landed on the ground. The people in Sky City had already come out at this moment. They didn't make any noise and consciously stood together. They just silently watched Lin Jun land on the ground and then slowly walked toward them. On the battlefield that was still filled with the smell of blood, a handsome young man walked so slowly, but it made people feel like they were looking up at a tall mountain. The scene was silent until Lin Jun came to the front of the crowd. He smiled, then raised his arm and shouted, "We won." There was about a second of silence, and then the people let out a tsunami of cheers. "We won! We won! Long live the Overlord!" Oh! The people hiding in the underground fortifications also rushed out at this time like a tide. Everyone went crazy, and they celebrated wildly. The men excitedly pounded each other's chests with their fists, and the women passionately hugged each other. It was unknown who hugged the person next to him and kissed him wildly. This intense celebration was like a plague, and it instantly infected everyone. People who knew each other and didn't know each other hugged each other tightly, jumping and kissing each other. "Bastard, you actually kissed this girl so hard. You bit my tongue. I'll settle this with you after today. Oh God, my mouth is numb. How many people have kissed me? Bah! Why is it a man who kissed me? Sark, you dirty pirate, I'm Ronnie, but you still kissed me. I want to take this opportunity to enjoy the passion of an earthling girl. Get lost. Captain Jason, quickly catch this pervert." Waves of intense cheers resounded through the sky. Champagne was taken out of nowhere and sprayed all over the sky. Lin Jun won, Huaxia won, the Earthlings won. Everyone who stood by Lin Jun's side had won. They had won this battle, which meant that they had won the limitless possibilities for the future. Not only Huaxia, but people in all the major base cities around the world celebrated this great victory in their own way. As long as the big screens were not damaged, they all lit up at the same time, and the world was broadcasting at the same time. "Hey, we won. Fellow Earthlings, this is Bingqing, base city of Huaxia, the hometown of the Sun Overlord Lin Jun. Welcome to the beautiful Bingqing base city. Ha ha ha. Lin Jun, I love you. I love this world. This is the beautiful Rome. If you come, I'll take you to enjoy the scenery of the Mediterranean Sea. Lord Lin Jun, welcome to New Delhi. Those idiots who didn't believe you got what they deserved. The people here support you. We are on the streets of Rio de Janeiro. Everyone is here. Lord, would you like to enjoy the samba dance and barbecue here? In the past, there was a carnival in the Christian calendar. Now we have decided that today is our carnival. There are beautiful and enthusiastic Brazilian girls waiting for you. Hey, girls, hurry up and say hello to the Lord." The camera panned. On the streets of Rio, a sea of beautiful women were waving their arms wildly. "Lin Jun, I love you. I love you." The camera zoomed in quickly. Countless flying kisses and hearts seemed to fly out of the screen. Pieces of jade legs and slender waist were simply captivating. "Girls of Seattle, will you lose to the Brazilian girls? I have checked the code of the Sky River Empire. The Empire is not monogamous. It's time to show your enthusiasm." The camera panned to the streets of Seattle, United States. White, black, and brown-skinned beauties were shouting wildly. Everyone tried their best to show their beauty. When the camera panned, Some small underwear was thrown all over the sky. When they stretched out their hands and lifted their legs, spring scenery appeared. Everyone's craziness was shocking. And us, we also want to marry the Lord. Right, when it comes to beauty, our Russian beauties never lose. The camera panned one by one. St. Petersburg, Egypt, Berlin, Shanghai, Brasilia, all the Bay cities were boiling. Looking at the hot scenes on these big screens, Lin Jun showed a sincere smile. And Ning and Su Mingwei walked slowly to Lin Jun. Su Mingwei tilted her head and asked softly, Lin Jun, you still have time to practice martial arts. You are very busy, right? Lin Jun laughed. You will be punished for doubting your future husband in such a roundabout way. Ah, and Ning's sister asked me to ask? Su Mingyue's little trick was seen through. She immediately covered her face with both hands and pulled Ning into the water. Bad guy. Obviously, you want to ask more. And Ning smiled and patted Su Mingyue. Looking at the smiles of his two girlfriends and the gratified look of their parents behind them, Lin Jun felt warm in his heart. At this time, a group of martial artists, led by Yin Chiye, slowly walked in front of Lin Jun. Lin Jun's eyes swept across their faces one by one. Yin Chiye, Chun Feng Lai, Gong Sun Du Dong Feng Jun. Even Ming Dong, Zhao Liang, Jiang Huai, Li Chengjing, Zhao Xiaoman, and so on. Almost everyone was still there. The martial artists looked at each other and finally bowed to Lin Jun. Lord, you have worked hard. Lin Jun didn't say anything, and the world became quiet.